with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around for
You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Hey, what's going on, people? How's everybody doing? First and foremost, well, before we get started, let me get some ones in the chat to make sure that you guys can see me, hear me, and everything is copacetic. I see some ones throwing up in the chat. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Otherwise, this could be a crazy, awkward evening. All right. First and foremost, I want to give a huge happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I think that that's important to recognize everybody. Make sure you guys had a good day. Hopefully, you had an awesome day. If you didn't hear from your folks or whatever, your peoples, just know that we're your people. I wish you a happy Mother's Day. Let's get some hearts in the chat for everybody to celebrate that Mother's Day benchmark. First and foremost, um, I am going to say right off the rip a couple things. There's a couple things I want to talk about um, with regard to this particular episode. Just because I think it's so important. The first thing that I'll mention is, you know, I'm really trying not to be cruel to the people who shan't be named. I am doing my best, but some folks are trying my patience. I'm not gonna lie. Like they try me, Lord. They try, you put me to the test. I'm doing the best I can. I'm just a human being. But I think that there were a couple points during this episode that I thought were really outstanding. Like first and foremost, I have to give a little tip of the cap to TLC for the way they're handling this issue, as well as the way they're producing and putting together these last two episodes. I think that these two episodes have been very respectful. I think that they've given great deference to not only the memory of Big G, but to his family as well, which is very important. And to their credit, I think that they've done a lot to try to include everybody. And by everybody, I'm talking about the couple of cruelty, the kids of collusion, the duo of destruction. I'm talking about the you know who I'm talking about. I see, and that's the thing. Like once I broke that habit, and once I really sat down and thought about it, it's very hard for me now to even just say their name on my lives or on my channel, just because I don't like to give them that. I just don't feel like rewarding bad behavior. I guess that's pretty much where it's at. Uh, the thing is, I think that TLC is doing a great job of trying to be fair, to try to show both sides. I will say this. I put out a video. As a matter of fact, let me add that real quick so I can show you guys. Because I've been having some it didn't get as much traction as I thought it would. The video I just released talking about Christine and David. And get a little troll action on it. But the thing is with Christine and David relationship, I am growing to like that relationship the more I see it. I think that earlier on, when I have had some reservations about their relationship, a lot of it was intertwined with the fact that I think I was looking at it from the perspective of I really don't know this dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was that weird place. So with that being said, I think that the more I see of him and the more he speaks on certain things, the more I like him. And that's where I'm standing right now. Like I'm not 100% on anybody. I don't believe stuff till stuff happens. More polite way to say what I say usually. My saying usually it's not stuff. It's hit. I believe hit when hit happens. But I for right now, some of his responses to a lot of what's going on, I genuinely respect. I respect the idea or notion of how he's approaching the idea of mourning, and maybe this is a mourning and grieving. And maybe this is largely because this is something that he had to go through with his children. Um, and this is the video that I put out last week. Oh, it's not appearing. Okay, I'm gonna have to put it up somewhere else. Hold on 1 second. The thing is that the way he talked about grief and how you deal with it, how it's not a one and done thing. Because I think the conversation between him and Christine was very relevant, very instructional, and very healthy. Like I thought that, like they said a lot in that little conversation that I thought looking at it, how I would deal with grief, how I would deal or manage emotions, how I have in the past, is tied into a lot of what they're talking about. Because grief isn't something that can be managed. And what I heard Christine talking about, and I very well may put this into a video form for later on this week, but what I heard Christine talking about when she said that, some people were saying that he's in a better place, or things happen for a reason. There's a lot of like little cliches that people use when they're trying to make you feel better. And it's not coming from a nasty place. And I don't think it's coming from a place of bitterness or anger or whatever. I think that genuinely people are trying to make you feel better. When they say these things, they're trying to help to alleviate your pain by telling you you shouldn't feel bad because they're in a good place. And her response is something that I've heard, similarities and different variations before. With her response, no, he's not in a better place, because a better place is here with us. A better place is him continuing to live. A better place is him having a family, and me seeing my grandkids from him, and me attending his wedding, him attending, my kid's wedding, him participating in life fully. That's a better place. It's not a better place now. So it doesn't make the other person feel better. And I appreciate David's response, and where he said that it's not about making somebody feel better or fixing them or healing their problems or taking the pain away. It's just about being there. Because ultimately, the part of grief that everybody has to deal with is you can't just fix grief. You have to go through it. You have to live all the way through it. You have to flesh it all the way out. There's going to be ways that you grieve. Like, I'm not going to come down on anybody for the way that they grieve, because some people could be fine, laughing, joking, having, water balloon fights 1 minute, and in the bathroom, a total mess. You know what I mean? Or 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they have a breakdown. They have to pull over to the side of the road because they broke down. You understand what I mean? Like, so everybody has their own process. But I think that when David was talking about it, he was talking about grief and finding those small moments of respite where it doesn't take over. I think that that's part of it too. That's part of the grieving process. Recognizing that you don't have to grieve every second, every moment, every time you are looked at, you have a tear in your eye and a tissue in your hand, and that's you grieving. No, grieving is, you may be finding happiness, or you having that happy story, or you having that memory, or that thing that you can look back on, and you fixate on that for a moment. And then maybe, the grief part of grieving could very well come when you're not expecting it. It just hits you out of nowhere. Like, 1 minute you're talking, everything is fine. Next minute, you are a complete wreck. That's how it works. And the crazy thing about it is that when it comes to grieving, when it comes to this type of loss, this isn't something that you get over. It's not something you get past. Like, okay, if I could just make it 2 weeks Everything will be fine because that's the runtime of grief in this particular kind of loss. That's not how it works. You know, this is something that will affect everyone who ever cared about him. This is something that is going to affect them all of their days. Maybe not the same way, maybe not to the same extent or to the same intensity, but this is something that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives, something that they're going to have to deal with and contend with for the rest of their lives. That's part of the damage of this type of loss. It's deep. Like this is the type of damage that you stick it in deep, you break it off. Like it's in there, right? Literally part of the mix now. This is part of who you are. And so it's learning to deal with that type of loss and coming around to that type of reality, because your reality, especially as a parent losing a child this way, this is part of your reality. This is part of who you are as a person now, right? Just like, if you look at Christine, Mary, Janelle, they were once polygamous. That's part of who they are. That's part of their life experience. So even when, whether she likes it or not, like my wife, she takes a little bit of issue sometimes with Christine constantly comparing, David to the curly Q cowboy. She's like, don't be happy with where you are, but that's part of who she is. I understand why my wife's saying, I'm not saying that she's wrong, but I'm saying that, that's part of who she is, because that's her reference point. Her reference point, if you've been in a relationship for 30 years and your dude was treating you one way, like every day you go out to the car and this dude never opened the door for you, right? Just something simple and stupid. Like he never opened up the car door for you, never pulled a door. You walking into a building, he walk in first, let the door close behind him, and you carrying all kinds of stuff, food and whatever, and he'll close the door right behind you, keep it pushing, right? The second your new dude, opens the door for you, and you go to grab the food or something out the trunk, not only is he grabbing the food, like, baby, that pot is too heavy, you can't carry that, let me get that for you, relax, I got it. Not only is he carrying it, but in some cases, my man made it. Right? That's a different experience. So when you look at that through your lens of experience, it's a different experience, because that's part of who you are. You were once this person. Now you're trying to be this person. When you have this kind of loss, you were once in Janelle's mind. She was once a person who had a future and a potential future with her 6 children. Well, technically, you understand what I mean. She had 13 kids, really. But in this particular instance, the 6 natural children that she birthed out of her body, she had things in her mind. There are things that she planned on doing with these kids that she's not going to get a chance to do. She wanted to sit there with him when he got married. She wanted to sit there with him when he went on his first, when he brings this person that he's going to marry to the house for the first time to meet her. She's not going to experience that when they get married, not going to experience that when they have their first child, and not going to experience that when they have the baptism or whatever. They're not going to experience that, the holidays, birthdays, all these things that she's going to miss out on. This changes who she is and her perspective on how her life was supposed to go. So her life is going to be different. And I think that with the way David approached it was extremely healthy. Like in my perspective, I just think that it was healthy. It was a healthy way to look at it, and he even talked about like his loss and how he had to share with his kids that his wife wasn't coming back. And you can see in his response. And it was funny because somebody had said that based on a video that I released this week, somebody said, well, what about David? His wife had blamed him when she passed, and that makes him a terrible person. You guys keep talking about Cody. What about him? What about him? Because at the end of the day, I can see the sadness in him. I see the remorse and regret in him. And we don't know where he was or what he was doing when that person passed. We don't know what type of relationship they had. But what I can tell and what I can gather based on the response that he had is that he still feels, even though they might not have been in a good place at the time, he still feels that loss. And then part of that loss is accentuated not only because he lost somebody, but how that loss affected his children and the people that he cared about. See, that I think is also an earmark for me. That's an earmark of the type of man that he is. Okay, that's the kind of thing that I would keep my ear to the ground for. Um, Another example of that, and I'll open up the phone lines earlier tonight because I don't want to push you guys to 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, be respectful of everyone's time. So I'm going to open up the phone lines early and I'll just give my perspective in between. But I think that when I looked at it, where is my thing? I can't find it. When I looked at it, one of the things that really struck me was he talked about how important it was for the kids to have therapy. And this is the one point where I will openly disagree with something that he said. Not necessarily totally disagree, but I would merely modify a position that he took. In the instance that he said, yeah, the kids need therapy. Like Gabe, he's going to need therapy, and the siblings, they're going to need therapy. Here's my position. I think that everybody could use some therapy in this situation. Adults too. Because as adults, older folks, we feel like the kids are the ones who are going to suffer the most. And we got to make sure the kids are okay. And very little time is spent recognizing our pain and where we are and our need to heal and our need to get things off of our chest and to share these things, and having a partner. And this is the video that I put up last week. She didn't just leave, she leveled up. Like having a partner, I think that this was, if you guys could check this video out, it doesn't have a whole lot of views, which is kind of crazy. But not to be crazy about it, but I thought it was pretty decent video. But when I say that she leveled up, it's not just the fact that she left Papa Promises and Crybrows and left that family. It is targeted towards them, in fairness. It was targeted towards them. But it's not just that. It's the idea of actually having a partner, somebody who, because it's great to have somebody who's going to help you buy, rental properties. That's awesome. Put you up in a $700,000 house, which in Lehigh, where they live, technically that's like $1 million, $2 million house in other markets. That's like $1 million house that she's living in. It's only 700,000 because they live in Lehigh, Utah. Let's keep it all the way a buck, people. You take that same house, transport it to a different market. That's a crazy expensive house. But it's not just that he's providing her these things. The thing that makes her connection or pairing with David a level up is the fact that she now has a partner, somebody whom she's there with, and someone who is in the trenches with her, which is the most important part. Forget the houses, to hell with the money, to hell with the houses, to hell with the house they live in and all that stuff, and a little love bug, booty clapping stuff. Forget all that. I'm talking about somebody who's going to be there for you when the shit when it hits the fan and it gets tough and it's difficult. Somebody who is willing to sit there with you and listen to you and give you your space and allow you the opportunity to feel that grief, feel that pain, and try to not take the pain away, but give you that space, take that burden off you where you feel like you got to do everything else. He lets you be who you are at the moment and who you need to be at the moment. If you need to be the strong person who's cooking, cleaning, hosting, having people over to the house, he's right there with you. If you're the person who at the moment you need to go sit in your car and just scream to the world, he's there with you. He's holding the door open so you can get out there, babe. Take your keys, take your stuff. Here's some tissues. If you need some water or something, you let me know. I will bring it out to you. If you want me to come and sit in the car with you, I'm right there with you. That's a partner. That's a partner. And that is what I'm talking about. When I say leveling up, that's leveling up. Because the partner that she had prior to that was only concerned about himself. And I said I was gonna try to hold off, and I'm gonna try to hold my powder dry until I do my videos this week talking about the dastardly duo. But I will say this. I noticed that there is a distinct difference between the way they filmed Janelle's portion of the show tonight versus the Curly Q Cowboys portion of the show tonight, and the things that they talked about, the things that they shared. And I'm not saying that he didn't have his certain moments where he broke down and he didn't feel a loss and the tragedy of it all. I'm not saying that. He is a father, and this was his son. And I can't take that away from him, nor would I try. I think that's what it is. Because like I said, with some things, good for good or bad, right, wrong, or best or ill, at the end of the day, it was Garrison's experience with his father, good or bad, whatever, that made him into the person that he was. The reason why maybe he was the person that he was, the strongest he was, is because at the end of the day, his father wasn't around. His dad wasn't in the house day to day. He had to sit there and watch his mom struggle. So as part of watching his mom struggle, he tried to fill that gap. And I've seen this before. If you have a household where you have a parent who isn't present, then the child sometimes will try to step up to fill that gap or fill that space for that parent. And they mature faster in some cases. They develop senses of, to deal with coping mechanisms. They develop senses of humor. They develop quicker wit. They develop certain levels of intelligence, street smarts, not necessarily book smarts, things of that nature, because of the scenario that they're in. So that's possible that because of the relationship that he had with Special K, that he was the person that he was. At the same time, when I watched tonight, the one point of frustration that I had for tonight was the frustration that I have with them in general. In general. Whereas Christine was talking about how this loss affected her. And a lot of what they showed was this loss affected her and how she's coping with it and how she's dealing with it. When they showed Janelle, she did a lot of the same thing. They were talking about how, she was fine and how she's, Janelle, this is why I say Janelle is a person that I'm actually worried about, because she is so focused on trying to make sure her kids are okay that I'm concerned that she's not making sure she's okay. And I hope if you ever watch this, or somebody who watches this knows Janelle, you don't have to say my name. You don't have to point it to my videos, none of that. But I would just, try to inspire her or invite her to seek help, because take it from a guy. I'm one of them people. I'm to a point I can understand where Janelle's coming from. I'm one of them people too. I'm very slow. I'm very quick to recognize issues, problems, and troubles in others. But it didn't occur to me that I still have healing to do with my losses until really last week. It really hit me. Like, I kind of knew before, and I kind of hinted at it before. Like, I really started thinking about it. Like, you're changing, you're different, but you just kind of assume that, like, everybody, things happen. Everybody changes a little bit, da-da-da. But you don't realize until you really sit back and think about it, how much things actually are affecting you and how much you've actually changed, how much you've changed how you approach the world, how you approach people, your involvement. And when I say involvement, I'm not necessarily just talking about you going places, showing up, doing things. I'm talking about how you view doing those things. What is your perspective on going out. Do you go out when you go out? Do you have that same level of life that you had before, or are you kind of just doing the thing that you normally did because you're just trying to get back to yourself? But you're doing the things that you used to do, but you're not the person that you used to be, and that's part of that is that that part of you is damaged, and if you don't work to heal that, it just gets worse. And you can find yourself in a situation, you can quickly find yourself in a situation where you are isolated. You isolate yourself and no longer feel the need to participate, which can lead to your own form of depression, and the cycle starts again. So, like, with that being said, like, I'm just hoping that Janelle takes the opportunity to make sure her kids are okay. I commend that. That's very important. Making sure your kids are okay. Make sure you touch base with them, that they make sure they have the things that they need. But you also want to take care of yourself. So the same way you would recommend for them to go to therapy, you should maybe take an opportunity, just an appointment, sit down and have a conversation, especially if you find yourself in a position where you go to the one of the more touching things was they went to the Humane Society, and they they were talking about this room that they set aside for Garrison, and she went, took the camera crew to go see the room, and she had a hard time getting through it because she couldn't talk about it. That's a strong indication that you might need to talk to somebody. This is affecting you. This is affecting you. And you want to make sure that you're okay, so that way when things do arise, you can be there for the people that you need to be there for. Because if you don't take care of yourself when other things happen, because life is going to happen. This isn't it. And I don't want to be a jerk saying that, but I mean, that's just the way life works. This isn't the last struggle you're going to have. Like, oh, you hit your limit. I wish it was like that. I wish you had like a limit on how much you could struggle, and then, or struggle or grieve or be in like terrible situations or positions. And then once you hit your limit, be like, whoa, he's cashed out. He's done for the rest of his life. He's going to have happy days. The rest of her life, she's going to have happy days. But that's not the case. And the best way for you to prepare for that next event is for you to start shoring up yourself so that when the next thing happens, you're ready. And so I just want her to take care of herself. But I did notice that, and then I'm going to open this up for folks, but I did notice that there is a distinct difference between how Janelle talked, because she talked a lot about Garrison and what he meant to her and how the family is dealing with it. Cody did the whole thing where he took his kids to Wyoming, Wyoming, and he was showing them around and talking about, like, these are some billboard signs I sold, and this is the stuff I did, and this is how you make it, and this is all stuff that doesn't have really anything to do with anything. And I understand maybe it's a way for you to try to connect with your kids. But again, this is kind of that, what I see in that situation is this is kind of that throwback macho man way that you connect with your kids. You tell them a bunch of shit that doesn't really have to do with anything. And I said his name too, didn't I? You tell them a bunch of things that don't have to do with anything. Things that, even though it's a story and it could be important in one light, it really doesn't. It's not cogent to the conversation or discussion you're having at the moment, right? There's no emotional investment in it. It's a safe conversation. It's a safe topic that you're having with them. Oh, yeah, I sold these things, and this is how they put the signs together, and it's like stuff like this, and blah, blah, blah. And that's a way that you don't have to deal with the seriousness of the situation that you're embarking on. You're taking them to see stuff that has to do with you, but you're avoiding anything that has to do with you and your memory of the child that you lost, you and the family that you had before, because that's a big part. When I talked about this is a part of who you are, I think one of the big challenges that he has, especially when he's sitting there with the Duchess of Tear Ducts, when he's sitting there with her and her kids, is one of the big challenges he has is that he can't talk about big G's. Because when you talk about big G's, you have to talk about it in respect of the other kids and the other family that you had. This is like essentially like the guy who had a affair, and he leaves his wife and his kids for his mistress and the family that he makes with her. Yeah, you might not want to talk about the kids you left and the family you abandoned. You understand what I mean? So yeah, it might turn into like, look, guys, this is where I went to school. Isn't that? Oh, wow. Let's go in and meet these people. It's also amazing to me that, you know, they never took them back there. Like they have, like his kids have zero roots tied to his previous life. And that kind of escapism is also troubling. And I don't know, maybe I'll do a video on that too, because I think that that's interesting. Like I think that there's a level of escapism where he doesn't want to acknowledge the person that he was, so he just doesn't. He just doesn't. So this is why this is the first time the family is hearing about this place that he grew up in, his old stomping grounds. You know, and even the bride even the bride, she turns around and, oh, I mean, we gonna have to start coming back here all the time. So she has some roots to the play. Those kids haven't been working on that farm. You know what I mean? They've been working on the farm. So yeah. They kept them all the way separate. You know. But yeah, let me check this. And then we're gonna go into I just think it's weird. I think it's very weird that because my kids like they've seen, like, obviously my parents or my dad still lives at the house where I grew up, so they've seen that house before. And every time I take them out to the house, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is a place. You know, they probably heard like my stories about that place where I grew up and things that I did while I was in that area and things of that nature, like 50 times. If anything, they're bored not because they're just disjointed because I'm telling an awkward story. They're just bored because they probably heard the story 50 times. Let me tell you about the time that me and my buddies, like, you know what I mean? Dad, we've heard this story 50 times. But you take them because you want them to be tied to your past. You want to know where you came from so they understand where they came from and what helped to shape and develop you as a person that you are. So maybe they'll appreciate it. And they have that tie. It also, from that respect, just real quick, just from that respect, this is kind of a shadowing or foreshadowing of what I see as part of the family breakdown. You wait till something tragic happens and the kids are older, and then you want to tell them something, but then you're surprised that they don't care. If it's not important enough for you to share it with them on a voluntary basis, like, guys, let's take a road trip. I want to show you guys where I grew up at. No, Dan, I want to go to Hawaii. We're going back to where I grew up at because you need to understand what was important to me. You don't wait till they're teenagers and Brianna and Aurora like adults. And you got two young kids, you know what I mean? Solomon and Ari, they're like total city slicker kids. They have no interest in any of the stuff you're talking about. So, I mean, you just did yourself a disservice as far as I was concerned. Like, I just think that like he's trying to tell them stuff that they don't care about. And it also is a little troublesome. Well, I won't say it's troublesome, but it's kind of weird to me. And I'm not 100% on this, but it's just, it would strike me as predictable that the family that he left his family for, don't associate with his kids for, they have no interest in anything about him. I think that that's crazy irony. Like, they had zero interest in anything he was talking. This was very important to me. This store, Saddleman's, when I sold them that sign changed my whole life. Hey, wake up. I'm telling you about my life. I'm telling you how I am the man that I am today. But come on now. Like, it's one of those situations. They could care less what he was talking about. Even Robin, I'll send her name. Even Cry Brown, she looking around, wig hat. She looking around the damn whole place like, this is terrible. She trying to find a place to go shopping, right? The kids looking for a snack place. I don't know. Like, so nobody was interested in the story he was telling. Like that, he was telling that story for himself and the cameras. Like, because nobody cared about that. So that's kind of like, in a way, that's kind of sad. This is the business that created. And look at this place. I have the greatest signs. I made these sign sales, and this really helped the family out. Oh, with the family you don't see? That family? We don't care about those people. They're the poors. I don't know. Like, them kids are not, they were not affected. They didn't even care. Like, and that's the weird thing, because I see the difference. Like, when I would go back to places and I show my kids and I'm like, oh yeah, this is such and such that, I did blah 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 here, or I went to a party here, or this is the church I went to, or this is the school I went to. They seem interested. Maybe they just better. Maybe my kids are better actors, but they actually genuinely seem interested in the stuff I was showing them and like the stories I was telling. Maybe I'm a better storyteller. I don't know. So like I said, maybe my kids are just better actors, kinder. His kids didn't give a damn. But let me give these hit these super chats, and then we're gonna open up the phone lines. First super chat is from YouTube is my time machine. What's up? YouTube is my time machine. YTTM. $5 super chat. What kind of man puts the photo of his deceased son in the garage? I don't get it at all. I don't get it either. I don't want to be a jackass, but there is a possibility that that photo was not something that he came up with himself. I think he even acknowledged it in tonight's episode that was something that he received at the service. Like, they went to the wake that was held by a service that was held by the military, and that was a photo that was up on the as part of the service. And then I guess being the dad, he goes to him and asks him, hey, can I have that? And they give it to him. And so he brings it home. And that could be a thing where, you get something, like I said last week, it's kind of like getting the table treatments or the flower arrangements at a wedding, and you're very excited about having it. You get it home and realize there's nothing you can do with it because it doesn't match any of your decor. Right? You just have it to have it. Like, it was awkward to have all night. You're trying to keep up with it. Then it's awkward as hell putting it in the car to try to get it home. Then when you finally get it home, you don't have any place in your house that it would make sense. So that kind of junk winds up in the garage. And I think that when you think about, like, unfortunately with a Big G, there is a possibility. And I would like to hear from Robin as to why they put it in the garage. I would like to hear from Robin. Was this something that she insisted she didn't want in her house? You understand what I mean? Like, you guys have, which is a weird thing too, because take down one of them dusty ass paintings you got, one of them bargain bin paintings you have. Put that picture up in the family room. That's what I would do. This stuff is coming down. In fact, I would take that picture down. I would take couple of those pictures down. I put that picture that they have of him, and I blow up a big picture of the family. So you have all your kids on the wall, your entire family. Especially if you're supposed to be so heartbroken over the loss of your family, then be heartbroken over the loss of your family. And then when they come back, how nice would it be if they came back, instead of seeing all the family funds and all the money that they mama kicked into the family fund up on the walls and in the curio cabinets where she has her collectibles, they actually saw pictures and places where you were actually trying to remember the family, where you were trying to remember me. That would touch me way more than watching you squander the money that my mom put into the family. I'm just saying, call me crazy, okay? Call me crazy. If I showed up and you talking about how much you miss me, and I'm like, Dad, you ain't never think about me. You ain't never called me. And I go there and he got pictures of me in the house. Even as like fathers, who might not have custody or whatever the case may be, show up to the events. Just be there, see the stuff, take pictures, and then when they hey, you ain't ever come around. I was at everything that you had, especially if you're being barred from going. Other parent won't let you show up. Have pictures. I was there. I didn't miss nothing. I didn't miss nothing. I might not have been in the front row, but I was in the building, and let them know that it was important to them. That would go a long way. It's also nice to hear that. It's nice and it's disturbing to hear that the family was getting back together, but it's disturbing to hear that it was such a short-lived experience. And I'm wondering if TLC will cover why it was a short-lived experience, because they don't get together now. But apparently they were getting when he passed, which makes sense. He passed. Everybody's grieving. Everybody's upset. They're getting together to try to work things out, try to make each other feel better. They realize how stupid, small, and petty a lot of those disagreements were, how irrelevant those disagreements were. So you trying to come back, then all of a sudden you break down. And it's part of that breakdown again. It's part of that breakdown because at the end of the day, you put your picture up because that was a place that you could film. And it was a way that you could sit there and say, oh, I'll be so sad because I come out here and I'll look at that picture. I can see if you worked in your garage, and that's a place where you spend a lot of time. It would be nice if you would have filled in those gaps or colored that in. Like, this is where I spend 90% of my time. This is where my office is. This is the place I come to relax and do my thing. And I just want him here with me. But part of that gesture in that loss is recognizing, and when somebody criticizes me, because somebody criticized me just this week, you don't never recognize Cody's loss. Part of that loss is recognizing that you have other children. It's not enough for you to recognize the child is not here anymore. It's for you to celebrate the children who are. The children that you can still pick the damn phone up and call. That's also important. It's not enough for you to just celebrate and talk about and be concerned about the child that passed away and the child that you can't do nothing about. Here's the one thing that I will say on that front. There is a power in celebrating and holding aloft people who are not here anymore. When you have leaders and people who are important to the family, patriarchs, matriarchs, whatever the case may be, mothers, grandmothers, dads, brothers, uncles, whatever. And those people are important to the family, and you don't get along with them, and they're terrible, horrible people. When they pass, there is a power in reshaping their image, reshaping their purpose, reshaping what they were about and what they meant to the family. There is power in that. And he has power over reshaping how important Garrison was, how great their relationship was, and how they loved each other. They talked to each other, and he had such a great sense of humor. You have other children who are funny too, or quirky in their own way. And when they pass, you're going to sit on television or TLC. If they were to pass tomorrow, you would sit on TLC and cry and boo-hoo and talk about how wonderful they were and special they were. But you didn't take the opportunity to try to get to know them or be a part of their life while they're still here, which is the important part. All that memory shit is, having memories with people, that's awesome. That's great to have memories with people. But to miss memories with folks because you're sitting around having stupid ass arguments, and recognize when you have this type of loss, you recognize that those arguments and disagreements were dumb as hell. But then you keep those same arguments going with your still alive children, people you can have relationships with. That's where I have a disagreement with how he's presenting himself during the course of this time. Because you're not the only person who lost. What I also noticed is that when it comes to the Curly Q Cowboy, right, Baldums, when it comes to him, all of a sudden, he's sitting there, and it's about how he feels and how much he lost and how this is affecting him. And Robin is sitting there, patting him on the back and slapping him on the ass, popping a titty in his mouth. Oh, well, you poor baby. Oh, this is terrible for you. I'm going to take care of you because it's all about you. What about his kids? What about his dang on kids? His kids are not just your kids, Robs. Crookums. they're not the only kids around. They're not the only ones left. He has other children too that he has to take care of and make sure are okay. Not just, Aurora, Dayton, Brianna, Saul, and Ari. He's got 12 other children who experienced this loss firsthand. Kids who actually knew him. Her kids don't really know this young man, and that's a shame. The little ones, they don't really know him. And that's something that she had confessed to, like they don't know who anybody is. That's why I jumped on the text message and blew that whole thing up, because the little ones are forgetting who they are. And those are the only ones you're worried about. You're not worried about these older kids. And that's part of I said I wasn't going to go in, didn't I? I did say that. But I can't help myself because I got to do what I got to do. You do you, boo-boo. That's part of what I'm talking about. That's part of the frustration, because if you're sitting there, like I think at some point she said she experienced this kind of loss too. If you experience this kind of loss, this should be extremely triggering. In my opinion, this should be extremely triggering for you. And you should be trying to make sure that if you're really concerned about your husband's mental well-being, then you not only want to try to help him to grieve the loss of his son, but you also want to help him heal the loss of his other children. I'm not even talking about the OG3. The hell with it. You know what I mean? They're adults. He's an adult. They don't want to get back together. They don't have to get back together. God bless everybody. They can all go their separate ways. Maybe it's better if they don't get back together. Maybe we shouldn't be in a room together alone. You know what I mean? Especially with sharp objects. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a good thing. But when it comes to his kids, there's no reason why he shouldn't be trying to heal those relationships and take that moment to try to do it. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But thank you so much. YouTube is my time machine. Fantastic point. Let me give you a little something. All right. And then we have Raiders Ma. What's up? Down in Super Chat. Raiders Ma. I did not get that speak pipe. So if you could resend it or whatever, and I'll do it for this Thursday. Just a side note. Little mess between me and Raiders Ma. Everybody's included, apparently. But I want to reach my max out of pocket limit on grief. I hear you. I'm ready to tap out too. Like, you know what I mean? Between that and financial issues or difficulties, like I'm done with that. Like, I don't have a lot of stuff that's like, I'm gonna do this, that, other. But I just feel like I've had enough. I've had enough. I've said when I was a young man, I'm a rich man living a poor man's life. I said, I'm a rich man living a poor man's life. And I'm just waiting for the Lord to bless me with that good money in that bank account. Restore me back to my true self. And I think that falls like right in line with that. I'm ready. I've reached my limit. I've done this. I want to try that other thing. Like they say that money don't solve all your problems. I want to try. I want to try that. I want to try that part of it. I've done this. I know what this is about. I've been around the block a few times. I get this. I want to do that part. I want to ride that ride. But that's the thing too. Like sometimes when you lose, it just feels like you keep losing. And that's why I say, like, I wish there was a limit on grief. I wish there was like a cutoff where you experience so much that all of a sudden be like, you know what? You've had enough. We're going to let you're going to coast for the rest of your days. The rest of your days, you're just going to coast, sit back, relax, put your head, let Jesus take the wheel, whatever. And you got it. But that's just not how it is. So it's incumbent on us to make sure that we're prepared. Not only are we making effort to heal ourselves as we move forward, but we also want to prepare ourselves for the next thing. It's not the last thing to happen or the most recent storm. It's that next storm that can sweep us off our feet. So we're always just kind of in that. We're just always kind of move into that state of readiness. And there is a point where you are, and it's hard to explain. Like this is one of the things with one of the more powerful things I think with David's conversation that I really kind of liked is that when you experience tragedy, in the initial moments of that tragedy, it feels like it's never going to end. It's never going to get better. This is how it's going to be to the end of time, the end of days. This is what it is now. And there will be moments where you can find that happiness. You'll find yourself smiling. It might not be right away, it might not be that week or that day, but there will be a time you're going to laugh again. You're going to smile again, and you're not going to look back on this the memory of that loved one or that person who passed, and it brings you tremendous sadness. There will be times when you look back on them and you are going to laugh your ass off. And that's part of the process, but that's also part of grieving. Grieving isn't just you being sad and miserable. Grieving is a healing process, but there's no straight line to that healing process. Like it's not something that you start on Monday and then you give it 2 weeks and then you graduate from that healing process after 2 weeks. It's not that easy. Even if you do see a therapist, like that's one of the things. I have to do that 90-day video. Damn it. I got a lot of stuff I got to do. I got a lot of work to do. But the problem that I have with a lot of the way therapy or mental health is portrayed, or especially on TLC, is that it's portrayed like if you go to a therapist, you're going to show up, you're going to talk to somebody, and they're going to solve all your problems. They're going to give you all the answers. That's not how it works. It's a process. It's an ongoing process. And depending on what you have going on, it could take years, if not decades, for you to have certain breakthroughs. But there's as part of that process, there has to be patience built into the process so that way you allow yourself room to, one, forgive yourself, two, to give yourself grace. And I think that that's part of what, like when we hear Christine talking earlier, that's what I was sharing, like, even last year. When you have this type of loss, there is a point where you blame yourself. You feel like I should have seen something. I should have recognized. I should have acted. I should have acted faster. I should have done this or that. Or if I only would have, could have, would have, should have. Was it, damn it, there was a saying, if could or not, what? I'll remember it. I'll put it in the video. But coulda, woulda, shoulda don't mean shit. That's what my coach used to say. Coulda, woulda, shoulda don't mean nothing. Like you can sit there all day and second guess yourself on what you coulda, woulda, shoulda did. But at the end of the day, especially when it comes to something like this, we have to get out of our own way and learn to forgive ourselves and understand that there's nothing that you could have done that could have stopped it. Maybe you could have delayed it. And sometimes that delay may make a difference. I'm not going to bullshit on it because sometimes that delay can make a difference. Like if you can get them through to the next day, they might find a reason to not. But if they are committed to this course of action, you can't protect them from themselves. You can protect them from the world, but you can't protect them from themselves. So it's very difficult for you to blame yourself, actively blame yourself, Christine. Because again, I've been in that situation. I've asked that question of myself with people that I've lost. Like, if only I would have, blah, blah, blah. If I could have done it, if I had known, or maybe if I was more tuned into what was going on with them, if I wasn't focused on my issues or my problems, if I was focused on their stuff. But then at the same time, how do you know? And then are you supposed to neglect every time you have issues, problems, or concerns? This is something like I'm pretty sure Michelle Wood. She's actually a sponsor of the night show too. But very generous super chat last week and a very poignant point. One of the things she said was, she had a friend who she felt like she was investing so much time, energy, and effort in, she had to step back. And that's part of it too, is that when do you know when it's safe for you to step back? Because the moment you step back to try to address your issues, your concerns, or things that are going on with you, that might be the time when they do something drastic. And then you ride that guilt for the rest of your life because you feel like if I wasn't being selfish by addressing the fire that was burning down my house, then maybe I would have been there for them. But each one of these people everybody involved has their own life, and everybody involved has their own set of circumstances. Even the notorious duo, who shall not be named, have their own set of circumstances going on with each one of their relationships. And they created a lot of problems with a lot of different people. So it's not unlikely or unreasonable to think that they might have missed what was going on with Big G's, because they had problems with McKelty, Madison. You know what I mean? They had active feuds going on with multiple children, multiple households, multiple parents who had their grandkids. So they had all kinds of stuff going on. So even then, it's very difficult to take that upon yourself. But again, I 100% agree with Radar. I'm with you. I'm on team. I've had enough. I'm tapping out. I'm done. I'm good. I don't, I've had it. I've tasted it. Thank you very much. I don't care for it. So yeah, if you could just pass that spoon along and give me that golden crested one. I want to see what that's about. No, I'm just joking. But thank you so much, Raiders. I appreciate you. We get a little something, something. All right, we have Eve R with the $2 super chat. I really need to hear about that. Hear that today. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I touched you unaware, or the things that we're talking about or addressing are effective or impactful to you in a meaningful way. I appreciate that. I genuinely do, because you guys don't understand. Like when I what is it? Comparison is the killer of joy. I think that that's true, because on one respect, anytime I have I'll be looking at my channel, I'm like, I feel like I should be doing better, or maybe I'm not reaching enough people. My reach isn't that good. Maybe people aren't really interested in what I have to say. One of the things I talked about was my story time. Was my previously, I had a friend who told me, like, people were who's gonna care what you have to say. And I think that the reason why things hurt you the way they do when people say negative things to you is not because they said negative things to you. You're not pretty, you're fat, you're small, you're tall, you're gawky, you're unathletic, whatever the case may be, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. It's not the thing that they say. It's it's the reminder of the things that you've already said to yourself, the confirmation that somebody else sees that thing in you that you were afraid of for you. So when I was looking at it, I look at my stuff, I'm like, wow, it doesn't really seem like I'm getting a whole lot of traction on some of the videos I put out, or the Monday morning motivation stuff. I think only, I don't get a lot of views on that. But if it's important, it always kind of touches me when somebody say, you know what, James, I saw this message, or I got this, and this was important to me, and this really helped me out. That's important to me because it is valuable to me, because it's at that point, it's not just about the like the views and the subscribers and all that stuff. It's that I feel like I'm actually making an impact, and that's why I started it. I didn't start it because I thought I was going to be part of the YouTube exclusive millionaire club. Like, I started the channel because I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to do something positive. And so for people to say, like, share with me that it's important to me, like, I appreciate folks, Betty Aldridge, everybody, who said that to me in the past, that, the channel is important, or the community itself that you guys help to build is important to them, because this is a place that they can come, they can relax, they can talk, they can encourage we have a space where we can encourage one another in a positive fashion to be able to move forward or move through this crazy thing called life in a progressive and positive way. I think that that's important. You know what I mean? That's just as important as having 200,000 subscribers and 50 million views on a video. If any of my content saves one person or prevents one family from going through some hardship, that's more valuable, and maybe I don't see the direct result, but it's always nice to hear. Thanks. So I appreciate it, Eva. Long way to long story long to say thank you. Thank you. To give you a little something. All right. Then we have Victoria Perry, $5 super chat. What's up, Victoria? I wonder if the picture was moved to the new McMansion. I know. Like it moved from I call it the McMansion is the old spot. It was 1.7. The $2.1 million house, I call it the shit show chateau. But yeah, McMansion works too. But yeah. And if it's in the new house, because those walls were bare, I wonder where the picture is. Is it over the fireplace or in the fireplace? That's what I'm just curious. Because, part of me, like this is the, I guess maybe the more callous part of it. I just feel like, the picture was a prop. And I know that's not fair. And I feel bad even saying that, but I can't shake it. It just feels like that picture was a prop because it wasn't even hung. If you look at how the picture was, it was sitting on top of something. You didn't even take time to hang the picture up. You take time to do everything else. You out there cutting down. Almost cussed. Yeah, y'all they cutting down trees, shucking trees, dropping trees on your house. You got time to do that. Something that you absolutely had no business doing. Right? You can put your life in jeopardy because them trees, cutting down a tree, that tree could come down any which way. In which case, there'd be some slow singing and flower bringing over there in your backyard because there won't be you will kill yourself and bury yourself all in one move. You know what I mean? That tree hit you. That tree come down on you. They will drive you in the ground like a nail. Okay. So y'all they doing all that, but you don't hang a pic like you can't take. They got the little cute nails now. Like you go to Home Depot. I got like a whole bunch of them around because I do woodwork and stuff sometimes, and I make pictures and art. But you take those. You get a pack of those nail things. It's like nails that go in, and they got like a little hook on them, and you can put those in there. Some of them hold up to like 50 pounds, especially if you put it in the wall the right drywall, it'll stick in. You could have hung that picture in 5 damn minutes. Not even. And that's if it took you 3 minutes to find your hammer. Okay, I'm just saying. Like, this guy, man, I just don't get him. I don't get it. And I try not to be critical because everybody has to mourn a different way. And to be honest with you, there are people, and not even to be too much of a jackass about it, there are people who have these kind of losses. And they don't hang, you know what I mean? They can't look at a picture because it's too painful. So if you're the type of person that experiences this kind of loss and you don't have pictures of your loved one all around the house, I understand that too. You trying to play tough, you trying to be hard, you trying to be hard boiled. You can't hang a picture up because if you see a picture or image or you have a memory that you can't make it. You can't make it. And like I said, it might not even be a thing where you, and this is why I was saying it's important for you. I hope that Janelle gets help or talks to somebody because you might not even know you're in trouble. You just kind of avoid things. I think that's kind of how it happens too. That's how it, transcends. He's a dweeb. But you stop going to certain places that you will remind that have too many memories to it. You start going a different way because you might pass a park that you used to take them to, or you don't want to drive down this street because this is the school where he went to, the first school he went to, or the place where his friends went. You had a lot of happy memories, or that was the park over there that we used to have like the family gatherings before we had a house, and we used to go to the park and have our cookouts and barbecues because they got the little park barbecue pits That's where we used to go. So I don't drive down that street anymore. And you don't make a conscious decision to not go down that street. You just somehow don't find your way down there. And that happens. But a lot of times that's because you're avoiding the pain. And I think that pain can be scary. The pain can be very scary because you're afraid. Like there's a point where when you especially when you experience that kind of loss, there is a fear that you'll get lost in that pain. You'll get lost in that loss, you know. And I can sympathize with that. Like I think that that's part of the thing where like even now that I consider it, like I avoided a lot of stuff for a lot of years because it. And this is like I said, this is something I didn't never thought of until last year. It helps when you talk about stuff. Me and my wife say it all the time. Helps when you say things out loud. Like I never really thought about it, but there's a lot of stuff. I have a lot of unresolved issues. Um, with people that I lost because I never really thought about it. But now that I'm sitting there even talking about it, like there's places I just don't go that I used to go, whatever. I would just show up, do it, whatever, because I enjoyed it. But I just don't, for some reason, I don't have a reason to go there anymore. All of a sudden, it's not fun anymore. Is it? It's not inviting, or all of a sudden, I don't like delicious foods from that particular restaurant. Because it's too much. There's a fear of the pain. There's a fear of the tie-in. Like it'll remind you of something, or it just hurts too much. So you don't. But so you just avoid it. That is part of our. We don't just have self-preservation when it comes to physical form. Like we don't want to be hurt physically. We also have mental self-preservation where we don't want to damage ourselves psychologically. So we avoid certain things. And if we don't face those things, then that can create a problem later on. So, but yeah, I am kind of curious. I'm with you, Victoria. I would like to see the inside of the house. I'm curious if he hangs it up. But I have a feeling if I'm going to keep it all the way a stack with the two of them, especially the way they've kind of carried themselves for the last 19 seasons, even if he did hang it up, is it? I don't know. I don't want to be an ass about it, but it's just kind of like I would always have the question: is he hanging it up, and does he walk the cameras past it because he wants to be like, "Look, guys, look what I did, yay me," or is it something that I hung it because this is something I wanted to do because I needed to feel close to him, especially in light of the fact that he hasn't really reached out to his other kids. I don't know. But thank you so much. Appreciate that, Victoria. Victoria Perry. Appreciate you. Get a little something, something. Then, of course, we have Kathy Ferran in the house. Thank you so much, Kathy. Super sticker. Kathy in the house causing problems. She's like, go French on them, James. Kathy, you're such a bad influence, and I love it. All right, give a little Kathy a little something, something. All right. Yeah, let's give some hearts in the chat for Big G's real quick. Because I don't want to, miss the purpose of this episode tonight. Because like I said, I thought the episode tonight was pretty good. Like I feel good about it. And I'm not gonna bullshit y'all. Pardon my French. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I was concerned with how TLC was going to do the coverage of his passing. I was very concerned because I was like, are they gonna make me have to stop covering them? Like that was a real concern for me. I was like, are they gonna put me in a situation where I can't cover them no more because of the way they disrespected this young man? I was concerned. So I am very happy with the way they did it. However, the one thing I will say is that I do have concerns that they will I pinned the link to the top. I do have concerns that they will turn around and kind of like what they did before with some of the previous episodes or seasons, episodes within the seasons, including like cutting seasons in half, missing, dropping out tell-alls, etc. I do have serious concerns that this portion of this season very well might get what they used to call the Disney Vault, might get the Disney Vault treatment. That was when Disney would release stuff and then they would have it out for a bit and then they take it off the market. You can't find it anywhere for a period of time. And I have a concern that they might very well do that with this. They might take it off the market and then take it off the platforms or whatever. And then you can't see it. Because it was, like I said, it was strong. And I don't and here's it. Like again, I can't help the editing. I know Cody said his name. I know the curly Q cowboy, Baldy Locks, he can't do anything about the editing. They're gonna edit how they're gonna edit. So maybe he did have like a profound moment where he said something that was like crazy deep, and they were like, yeah, no. We're just gonna play the going back to the hometown memory stuff because they hate you, and we're gonna keep playing up on that. Like that's a possibility. But if no matter what happens, if he doesn't like how he's perceived in these episodes, he very well may turn around and say that he wants to get it pulled. And I don't know if TLC will or won't pull it for him. So it's kind of where I'm at. Get my earbuds in. My earbuds. That did not connect. Why didn't that connect? Oh, hold on. These things act wacky. Sometimes I get the criminals, they just do me good, sometimes not so much. But we're gonna pull up people because like I said, I'm only gonna run the live for 2 hours tonight. So I want to get some people in, get as many people as I can. Remember, give James that HBO special. Whoop whoop. Somebody did it just like that. I never heard anybody do that before. Or whatever. Click the like button for the live stream. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, hit that like button. How many likes I got? 200. What? Come on, guys. Come on, people. Hit them likes. Get them likes up. Yeah, that was the thing too. Just real quick, I did notice that old girl, wifey Dill, she was able to squeeze some tears out tonight, y'all. So last week I was not even pretending to cry. Yo, Miss cry because they brought me into the family. The sun came up, and then all of a sudden, one of the kids passed away. Yes, I think it was very sad. I don't believe it. Like all of a sudden, she's Miss Roboto. Get the hell out of here, Robo Roboto. Kiss my ass. But let's kick the fires. Let's light the fires and kick the tires. We're gonna get this pod boy started. All right, we'll bring up Betty Aldridge up first. And we have Nicholas and folks. So Betty, what's going on?
Sweetie, how are you doing?
Doing well. How's life going?
Oh, girl, it's a going, it's a going. I'm just steady kicking.
Okay. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you. It was a marvelous one.
Awesome.
Got my flowers. Got a VR headset thingy.
Okay.
Girl, you talk about technology. We gonna see about them criminals when I try to figure that out. But my other kids from out of town have one, so that was my Mother's Day gift. So we can get on there and do a weekly game night.
Okay.
So that's gonna be cool. I can't wait to. But I'm not gonna keep because I tend to go. I just wanted to talk about their vacation real quick. he had such an opportunity to take them to Garrison's favorite places and tell
Mm,
good stories, funny stories, connect. Not about his dumbass signs.
right.
But then, I was thinking, because I really don't like Robin's older kids. I mean, I don't care for them. I'm not going to say I don't like them. I just don't particularly care for them. But, I do wonder, because how they dealt, if they're even allowed a safe space to talk about how they feel, because they're very young. And at this age, they're suddenly slapped in the face with mortality and how
Mm,
real. I mean, like, Garrison wasn't, I mean, he was older than them, but at the same time, if you don't have a safe, like a safe space to talk about, and we got to figure they're tech savvy. They're not. I mean, during the day of social media, YouTube, and we saw that it was posted that their biological father was also dealing with cancer. Now, whether or not they're close to him or even allowed to talk about it, we don't know. You don't hear about that, but I do wonder about those children if they have a safe space to be kids, to cry, to be angry, to understand. Because I mean, like, as much as I don't care for them, I do have a lot of empathy, because all those children, that's what we don't talk about. It's like Isabel, truly. I mean, like, the mortality of, because when you're young, you think life goes on forever. Y'all hush. I'm sorry, I don't know if my phone turned down or what. I couldn't hear you. My phone's down. I couldn't. What? I don't know what the hell. I can't hear.
Oh, here we
Sorry.
go.
Oh, there we go. Okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. My thing automatically cut off. But the thing is that I 100% agree. The flip side of it is too is older folks. A lot of times we look at younger people and we assume that they have all the time in the world too, because we only see our
Yeah.
own mortality. You know what I mean? And that's where the funny part about it is I had talked about this particular issue, like the possibility of losing a child, years ago, when back in season 16, when the family started to fracture and Cody was having, or I said his name, damn it, when Curly Q was having the issue with Big G's and Gabe, and they were standing on the side of Cowdy Pass, I said it then. Like, you don't know. You assume that these kids are always going to be around and you will have all the time in the world to be able to fix this relationship. So you have all the time to just focus on the person that makes you feel good, and you can put them on the back burner and put them on pause. But there might come a time where they're not here. They might leave early because, aside from like self-harm, there's cars, there's bathtubs, there's fires, there's, bodies of water. There's all kinds of ways to go out,
Oh
especially
yeah.
for young people who, like you said, they feel like they're invulnerable. So they feel like they could do anything, you know. They feel like Superman. They don't realize that they are mortal too. And they could put themselves in a situation, they get hurt, they're not here anymore, and you lose that opportunity to be able to try to fix those relationships. So take those opportunities, you know.
Yeah, I
But
would say it's like, you're probably like me. I mean, like, my kids are everywhere, and every night we text "I love you." Like,
mhm,
may not talk every day, but every night we text "I love you," just because. And and it's going to be hard for them. And then to deal with, like, and then so many times we don't talk about the anger that goes through it, especially in a situation like this. That you're
mhm,
going to be angry. It's like,
right.
why did you do this? Those feelings are valid.
Mm,
They're perfectly fine. Same as my kids. I mean, like, the hardest conversations I have with my kids right now is, like, at my time when it's time for me to slide in, hopefully, you know, tarnished tail and
mhm,
all. I be in the back row sneaking in this way. I be sneaking like a creeping and be like, oh, oh, hey, Joseph, what's up, buddy? He'd be like,
right.
mm-mm. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
We
right.
gonna
You know what
be,
you did.
yeah, he gonna be having a list this long and be like, and why exactly? It's like, cause I tried.
Right, right.
But
I did the best I could. Maybe I can sit in the
like,
waiting room
my
while you
ashes,
guys decide.
I already told them with my ashes, either put me in a Bud Light bottle, which is fine, or throw my ass in a potted plant. Let me grow that way, but don't hang on to it because I don't want to be in the
Mhm.
ground where they feel obligated to try to come. I just,
Right.
but it just made me so like, and they don't have like the younger ones. If you're going to use this as an opportunity, show some joy. That has got to be the most miserable vacation I've ever seen in my life. Not just because of
Mhm.
the where they're what they're doing there, but I mean, if you're going to take an opportunity, those kids look so damn miserable. Like
Yeah.
look like they need some Metamucil.
Yeah. They did not look like
Sorry.
they were with it. It was not a good
Like
time.
none of I don't think I've seen a genuine smile on any of those children in the last 2 seasons. Like they
Mhm.
always look constipated. Like I'm
Right.
sorry, Lord, don't send me to hell. But I didn't mean to keep you, but it's just so aggravating when you see it. And they had such an opportunity to talk about Garrison. I mean, like if he's going to go on vacation and he's talking about how much Garrison loved to laugh and be silly and stargaze, they
Mhm.
had, I mean, right there, beautiful, wide open spaces. They could have said, you know what? We're going to go, let's go to the hotel and eat. No, go get a tent, sit out there and stargaze and really remembering, take it all
Mhm.
in. Like with mine, I don't know if I go splat, I just go splat. Because
Right.
I plan on going out in a big way. I ain't going out easy. I'm gonna be the one, and I already told her, I'm gonna be the one with the practical joke. You gonna get a text. It's dark in here, or "Oh, my feet are hot."
Right.
But that's
Right.
because I like to be silly. Like we've dealt with tragedy in different ways, and we learned through our, we've talked about mine and my husband's tragedy, and the way we got through was we learned how to deal with it with, yes, reverence, like, and but also keeping a sense of humor, keeping your light.
Mhm.
Uh, everybody in there, I just in our chat because you have the most amazing people, and you're amazing. You act
I
like it's
appreciate
nothing, but
that.
you truly are amazing. You're an amazing young man that any mother would be so proud to call you her son. Any
Oh,
mother.
thank you.
And if they say they don't, they're lying.
Right. They just haven't
Well,
seen
I
my
won't
body at
keep
work
you.
yet.
Girl, my body ain't a temple. It's a mausoleum. But I love you, sweetheart,
All
and
right.
you're doing
I
such
love
a
you too.
fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
And you have a
appreciate it.
wonderful chat. Like I love your whole group. They are amazing people. Because
Yeah,
you
it's a
have
lot of fun.
like you have so many like Kathy and Alexandria and Courtney and Jermaine who made me laugh. When he made fun of my Courtney love. So we all keep a sense of humor about everything. So, and Jody, I got to teach to cook. So I won't keep you, but you're doing an amazing job. And I look forward to this every week. Like
Oh, well,
you
thank
are a
you.
highlight of my life, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, you go have a good day out. Let me shut up because I know other people want to call in, baby.
All right,
But I
no
love
worries.
you.
But I appreciate you calling in, and again, happy Mother's Day. Hopefully you
Oh,
get
girl,
all the
thank
stuff
you
you
so
need.
much.
And I think that one present where you guys can connect, that's huge. Like the technology, you putting the technology to work. So that's
We
awesome.
try. Well, we gonna try, but they're walking me through it all. But we're gonna do it on like we planned on doing it on like a Wednesday night or something. So because they
Okay.
have bowling, so we can
Yeah,
bowl
yeah.
and then we can watch IMAX movies together
Right.
and
Right.
all that stuff. So it'll be interesting, but like I mean, I can't. I'm looking so forward to just doing that.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
amazing. So like and it's not that expensive like it used to be because you can get a
Right.
headset for like $300 now, which
Right.
is a
Right.
lot. I mean, like we have to save for it. I'm not saying like that's just nothing. I'm just saying
No, I get you. I
what it
get
gives me by comparison. I can reach out to my son in Philly, my two kids in Mississippi, and to be able to
you. Mhm.
connect once a week and feel like we're in the same room.
Right. Right.
I just have to, I cleared out some space in my living room because I've tried it once bowling and I get like, wow. I'll be one of them that you see
Taking
on
out
TV that done
shells.
broke my damn window out. So they're like, make sure you wear the wristband, Mom.
You're right. You're right. It makes you have plenty of space. That's all.
Yeah,
You don't
because
try
I'll
to
be the
run
one
with
not. Well, I did one last night testing, and I was playing the box, and I pow, hit the wall.
it.
Like, ooh. So yeah, I'll make sure I have a flat space because I'll be tripping and falling,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
I'll giggle.
yeah.
Like somebody helped me up once we stopped laughing. But you have a wonderful evening, baby, and thank you for what you do.
Oh,
And
thank
thank
you.
your
Thank
chat
you.
because your chat has touched my heart so much. I love each and every one of them.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad that
So,
we have the community together though. But
oh, me too,
appreciate you
honey.
calling in.
All right, baby. Bye, honey. You
All
have a
right.
good night. Be safe.
All right, you too. You too. Enjoy your VR.
I'm gonna try. We'll
All right,
see how it
welcome.
works out. It
Welcome
could
to
be
the
interesting.
future.
Love you, honey. Night,
All
night.
right. Talk to you later. Have a great
All
night.
right, bye, baby.
Bye. All right. Yeah, you know what? It is stuff like that I think is important. And even with that, like I appreciate the fact that like Betty had talked about like it'll be just as much fun putting this stuff together because sometimes we get so fixated on the destination that we don't look at the journey. The journey is sometimes the best part of the trip. Like getting places when you do road trips with your kids or whatever, or when you were a kid and you did road trips with your parents, it wasn't just getting to the place. Like, of course, when you're little, you're like, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Like every 2 minutes. But like, do we look like we there? Do we look like I pulled into anything? Do you see anything around that looks like a hotel or Disney World? No, you don't. But I think that it's the trip that makes the time. So like putting this stuff together, and at that point, it's not about the success of it. Like so, and Betty with her family, she might try 50 times to connect, and like people dropping out, and maybe it disconnects and stuff, and then they'll call and they'll laugh, and then that creates a moment in and of itself. And so I think it's those little times that we have to hold on to that are important. That's the stuff that people are going to remember. It's not just the successful stuff. Sometimes the failures are the ones that people remember and laugh about the most later on. Like you could have done a trip like 50 times, but it's the one time you went and you just kept catching flats the whole way down the road, like baloney skin bandits out there on leaving Utah going to Nevada. So it just is what it is. But we got Negla coming through. Negla, what's going on?
What's up, James? I love me
How
some
are
Mama
you?
Betty. Bless Mother's Day. I want to say, first of all, bless Mother's Day to Mama My Take, then to Mama Betty, and then to all of my other beautiful sisters in the chat. I love you.
Awesome.
If you're biological, it don't matter. Look, you
Right.
feed them long enough, they're yours. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Well, happy
and
Mother's Day to you too.
Well, thank you very much. And bless Mother's Day to the three real. Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have said that. I did not have that in my notes. To three of the mothers on the show that bonds us together. Does that make sense? And I think
I
you can
got
guess
you.
which three. Okay. You feel
Right, right. So Robin, nah, go ahead.
no, and you know what? That was my first point because I saw you struggle through that. You had done a live one Thursday, I think it was, and you were struggling not to say
Yeah.
Laura Fauntleroy and Robert, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, look, I need $1 for every time you say it. I'm gonna be rich." Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Right.
No, that was cool. But the reason why I did want to call in, so my anyway, so I had my first child when I was 24, and then 13 years later, I was pregnant with my second child. And at that time, I found her father. He was unalive due to inhaling certain substances. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm trying because I don't want to get you demonetized or anything. I'm just trying to be, cool with that. But so um my at that certain time, I was like, okay, well, what if I had done this? What if I had done that? What if I had done, maybe changed my pattern or observe him closely. I didn't know he was struggling with that until very much later in our relationship, and literally I was already pregnant. I didn't know because I don't do that. I just didn't know.
Right.
So and it wasn't that he had unalived himself, it was that he felt that he had a safe amount and he didn't, and so he was gone. And during that time I went into when I tell you, first of all, I was pregnant, and then I also had a 10-year-old child. When I tell you, it was like so deep, like I didn't want to continue because I love this man. He was the love of my life. And, and this was at that time, this was my mental state. And so even though I was pregnant, I started drinking alcohol. I think I can say that. Can I? And I only said it once. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So I started drinking, and then I told the doctor, and I was like, no, the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to get that image out of my head. And, if I black out, I don't see that image. And the doctors put me in the hospital, and then I also got mental health treatment. And what they explained to me was that, Negla, at this point, what you need to do is they were trying to talk to me or whatever. They're like, you love travel, because I love traveling. I really do. Passport full of stickers and all this, that, and other. Okay, what do they first tell you? If there is an emergency, the airbag, or not the airbags, but the mask will come down. Right. And you secure yours first before securing others. That's what Janelle needs to do. Janelle needs to secure her mask. And from watching IQ, because I think I saw you in the chat too, or it was maybe it was a couple of us in the IQ chat, but Janelle needs to secure her mask first. And while I know that they don't believe in like necessarily psychiatry or psychology or anything like that, Janelle really does need to seek some type of counseling so that she can be there for her kids. Because for me, it wasn't that I was thinking about myself first. No, I was thinking about how to get this image out of my brain, but I wasn't thinking about the damage that I would have been doing to my daughter. Now, my daughter is healthy, happy, safe. She's 13 years old, wonderful, A+ student, does karate, actually just earned her black belt in karate. I mean, just, yeah, she's wonderful. No, signs of FAS or anything like that. And we really lucked out on, I lucked out on that one, but it could have been different. And I'm not saying that Janelle's like pregnant now or anything, but I really just remember that they told me I needed to fix Negla before I tried to fix, anything else or try to do anything else. Because at that point, I wasn't doing my daughter any good because I was drinking and she was drinking what I was drinking. I wasn't doing my 10-year-old at that time son any good, because literally the only thing I would do is I would set my alarm for the morning and then drink all day. And then if he was in the house, okay, yeah, do your homework, and then go back and drink more so that I would, you get what I'm saying? It wasn't healthy. Yeah, it wasn't healthy. So I just really want Janelle to just get help for Janelle. And I think David is awesome. And David's situation is very apropos here. And the fact that Janelle and Christine are such close friends, I think, really does come in handy. David's not trying to impose. If they ask his opinion, he'll give it. If they don't, he shuts up. Right. And, and unlike some people who just want to have fake staged pictures of their, unalive son in their garage. That makes no. So I'm sorry. It's just irritating. I can't tell him how to grieve.
Mhm.
And that's the last thing I did want to say. You never ever get over. He was the first major person that I lost. I had lost my grandmother. However, she lived in Mississippi. So she's my grandmother, and I'm not, whatever.
No, I
But
get it. I get it.
yeah, but he was the first major person that I had lost. And I had to realize you never get over it. I still wake up I'm married. I'm happily married. You know this. I'm happily married. We just had our 6th anniversary and all of that. And
Congratulations.
but there's still times, yeah. And I'm like, I miss, his name was Vernon. I miss Vernon. You know what I mean?
Right.
I miss him. And so you never get over it. You have to learn how to live with a hole in your heart. Today's Mother's Day, yesterday was Mother's Day. I miss my mommy. And, we didn't always have the best relationship, but she's the only one I had. She's the only mommy that I had. I had my father too, but you get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So you just have to learn to live with a hole in your heart. You never get over it. There's never enough water that can fill that vessel. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
because
you get it.
because even with that, I would say this. Like, I think that there is a part where,
Oh,
no, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, please continue. Please continue. I apologize.
No, I would just say that, like, there's a part where, like, when you compare, like, grandparents and parents, there's an expectation that's involved, and fair or not, there is an expectation that's involved as part of the natural course of things. Like with
Parents
your
don't bury their
parents,
children.
right?
Never.
Parents, grandparents, when they pass, it's sad, it's terrible, it's horrible, no doubt.
Correct.
But there's a part of you that has already accepted the fact that this was a possibility and it was going to happen eventually. You might not be ready when it does happen, but when it does happen, you knew it was coming. There are certain people that are in your life that you never thought really considered that you would have to bury that person.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
understand what I mean? So
No,
I think that
totally.
when you lose Vern, when you
Mhm.
lost him, that's somebody, especially at the time when you lost him, that's somebody that
Yeah.
you were not planning to lose. One,
Right.
two, that's somebody who, kind of what I was saying about Janelle, you had expectations about
Right.
him in
Right.
your life and how that was going to impact your life. So you
Absolutely.
saw yourself, this is somebody that, not only were you going to have a child with this person, this is somebody you
I
was
was
going
gonna
to
get
get old
married
with.
to. We were gonna get married,
Right.
and
You're
right
going
off
to spend
happy
your
in the
life
sunset.
with him. So
Yeah.
when he passed away, that does, it's not just the loss of that person, it's part of the loss of the person that you were planning to be, that
Correct.
potential you,
You're right.
so you're mourning a few different fronts, and that's part of the
Sure.
whole grief process that
Sure.
we have to deal with, because you're not just mourning the loss of that one person. That one
Absolutely.
person may be the focal point of that loss, but there's a lot of different aspects that are tied
Mhm.
into it as well. And so it's not
Absolutely.
like, so when you say that you feel bad about missing Burn, like, in my mind, I'm not going to speak for you, but in
No.
my mind, when I hear that, it's not just the loss of him, but the loss of what could have been.
Right.
So it's not so
Absolutely.
I'm definitely not taking it, because I take it that way. I'm not taking it as a slight that because you're
Sure.
married and you mourn the loss of this person, that you're just so wrapped up in this person. No,
No.
there's a lot more to it, and that's the way I.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, and that's and it's not like, because people are like, oh, you moved on, and it's like, no, you're not understanding. You're not get,
Mhm.
and
Right.
it's like I literally had to wake up and I had to realize he's not coming back. When you hear the keys at 3 o'clock, that's your child coming home. That's not him.
Mm.
You
Right.
get, because he would, like, what he would do is when he got off work, he would meet my son at the bus stop, and then they walk home together. So when I
Mhm.
hear the keys, that's my son walking home. That's not
Right.
him. You get what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
it's those little things, and that's why. And even though I really cannot stand Lord Fauntleroy, And Robert, you know what? Let me just leave her out of my entire just rest of this, because she just. Have you ever just wanted to like? Oh, I can't say this.
I got you. I know you. I know where you're
You
going.
already know
I
what
know
I
where
want
you're
to
going.
say. Okay.
Yeah, I know where you're
Yeah,
going.
yeah. And it's like, woman, just let them grieve. Let them grieve.
Right.
But then he's also lying. He's saying they brought him home to Colorado. No, you didn't. You didn't bring him home to Colorado. And if you got his ashes somehow, you stole them. Because there was no way that you buried that man in Colorado. That's not what he asked. And I said this last week.
Right. I think they were going to Wyoming, right?
Or Wyoming, I'm sorry, wherever, yes, his family ranch in Wyoming. That's not where he said he wanted him. And that man was military. As soon as you pass boot camp, they already know, because you have to make your plans. Am I wrong? Look, I'm an Army brat. My daughter's father, the one I just talked about, was a Navy. He was Navy. You get what I'm saying? Like, I come from a family of military. You have your plans. I was a military dependent. My parents made plans for me before I was like 5.
Right, right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's the wishes were already known, and IQ did a thing on this, and I think that's where I saw you in the chat, or was it you, or maybe Brittany? I think Brittany was there, but either way, it's irritating me how much TLC is letting them get away with this BS. Like, I legit need a fact checker or a lie detector on the series finale. Please, series finale. I just need it all to go away. I really do. And I don't mean that. And just so you know, I will still follow you and the family. You know, the My Take family. I love the My Take family. We really get along well together. And, you know, even if we disagree, we just agree to disagree. You know, that is what it is. You know, we get trolls, but yeah.
It is what it is.
We got good mods. We got good mods. Right. So, but I don't like. It's just very, very irritating to see Robert and Cody, and even though I'll fast forward past it, and then my husband would be like, "But babe, how can you speak on it if you didn't watch it?" I'm like, "Okay, you are right." And it's like kind of like, you know, hey, I saw you speeding. No, you didn't. You know,
right.
And, you know, and it's like, nah, yeah, you weren't observing. So, you know, I can't accuse them of something that I didn't see from myself. But the selfishness of fool. No, you tell me what Garrison, my brother's favorite hangouts were. You can't tell me, can you? Because you didn't know it. And now you're complaining because the other kids are like, you don't know me either. Just like the baby. The baby said, Daddy, I really, you know what I feel like you don't like me. That right there should have stopped you in your freaking tracks. She's a baby. Well, to me, 13 is a baby. I don't care. Or 14, whatever, you know. But that as a parent, for you not to really have a reaction, and for you to react for the camera, but not to really have a heartfelt reaction.
Yeah. Well, because it was Christine's oldest child, Aspen.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Aspen. I apologize. She said I don't. I feel like you don't know me, or you don't like me, or that was what it was.
Why don't you like?
You don't like me.
But yeah. I think the point is still valid, because I don't care how old my child is. If they came to me and was like, "Dad, I don't feel like you like me," well, we got to start back from basics. Like, why do you think that I don't like? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? I want to understand where you're coming from, where you come to that conclusion.
And the thing is, you would take what that child says and actually, and I don't care if she's a grown woman, you take what that child says, and that is her perspective. Remember, there's 3 sides to every story: your side, God's side, your side, their side, and God's. And God's is the truth, because that's what. Me personally, you know what I mean. There's, you know, your side, their side, and the truth. The truth is what actually happened. Now, how the child perceived it was also based on that child's life experiences. So, perhaps that child saw you being overly nice to, sister, whatever, sister X or brother, Y or what have you. That child saw you being friendly to that child, but then you ignored me when you walked in, which he's done several times. He will walk into an entire room and the kids all try to come up and hug him and he ignores them. Dude, you only got 18 kids. And I'm not, that's a lot. My grandmother gave birth to 21. So, my dad didn't know. We've had that conversation, but my dad really did not know that my grandmother was his mother until he was like 4. And that was because my older auntie was raising him. But the thing is, once he learned that was his mommy, when mommy comes home, help her and this, that, and the other, and all of this. But I don't understand, and maybe it's because I'm a mother, but I don't understand how, as a parent, my husband shows more concern for my 2 sons, my 2 biological sons, who are his stepsons, than that man has in his pinky toe. I mean, my husband has more of that in his pinky toe. I'm sorry, I apologize. Than Cody ever showed, or Lord Fauntleroy. Lord, you got me doing it. James,
once you get the fever, it start popping.
Right. But no, I just anyway, I don't want to hold you up, but I don't understand. And maybe it's because he wasn't raised that way. But from what I'm understanding, like, even Mary cried. Even Mary had real tears. He nor Robert had either. They had nothing. She had eyebrows, and he was sweating, probably because he was. Anyway, shut up. I'm gonna be a good girl tonight. Anyway, I'm not gonna accuse him of anything. But I don't get it, and I don't understand it. And this fake, oh, let me show you where I grew up and this, that, and the other. No, this is not where you grew. No, this is where your brother went to school.
Right.
And why did you just take them? Why didn't you take the others? The others probably don't want to have nothing to do with you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a point where there's a separation, and the robber baron, like, I think she likes the separation and she supports the separation, and that also would give rise to, hey, I want to take him to, because if you're putting him in Wyoming, the whole point would be, this is why Wyoming was so important to him. So you would take him to the places that would be important to him, not necessarily important to you. This is why we're here. But
you're telling me about your experiences. I don't care about your experience. I want to know about Garrison's experiences.
Right. If you're saying that this is so important to me and this shaped me to be the man that I am, then you should have been took your kids there. Like, your kids should already went to Cody, Wyoming, as opposed to Lovell, which is where his father's ranch was. It's it's like Cody, Wyoming, I think, is like the bigger town.
James, I'm gonna tell you this.
Town, busier town.
I'm gonna tell you this. My mother, when she passed away, she was cremated, and the majority of her cremains were left at her alma mater in Tougaloo, Mississippi. That's the college that she graduated undergrad from. I take my children there annually, because that is where my mother had the happiest time of her life, undergrad at Tougaloo College. So, and she's buried underneath, there's like a big oak tree. She's not buried, but they just sprinkled, spread her ashes or what have you. And so, but we talk about mommy. We go to where mommy liked to eat. we go to Wadsworth Chapel, which is where mommy liked to worship. And I remind them, this is where mommy did it. I don't say, no, oh yeah, I went to this chapel and I like it. And it's not my business. It's not me. We're not celebrating me. We're celebrating my mother. Does that make sense?
Right, right.
And so if you're going there to celebrate your child, you would say, you know what, his first job was at Ben and Jerry's up the street or whatever. You know what I mean? Am I wrong?
No. I mean, I think there's like the whole thing was, but again, I think that also goes back to kind of where we were before, where they present the things that they want us to see, and they just try to produce it. So essentially, what the two did was they took a portion of the show that was supposed to be about Garrison and made it about themselves. And I think that's really the root of it all.
So now, do you blame TLC for allowing that to happen, or do you blame Robert and Cody? Because remember, what is it? Paul Production. What's it? Remember?
Puddle Monkey.
Puddle Monkey. But I thought they were dissolved though as a corporation.
Well, they're gone. They were the old ones, and they have a new producer or production team.
Okay, but do you think it's TLC's fault, or do you think it's their fault?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily blame oriented. I do think that it's they in a crazy way. I think that they let them be who they are.
I see. Okay, so we can see. Yeah, so we can see.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. See for yourself.
So it's like and that's what I mean. Like when you do the comparison between Janelle and Daddy Dona, like when push him down the shove, you have like Janelle. She's like, this is the thing. This is his legacy. This is about Garrison, and this is about his life. This is something that he left behind because this is something that was so important to him. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you see the other side of it, he was reflecting on this is what was important to me, and this is how I grew up, and this is how I'm going to celebrate myself. So you just see that, like, when they go to him and they say, "How do you want this to be presented?" Janelle says, "I want to talk about Garrison's legacy." You know, Daddy Donor say, "I want to talk about myself." That's just who you are.
That makes sense. No, that makes they're showing us who they are, and as opposed to more scripted or it's not even.
Well, because I think they're not cleaning it up for them anymore.
There you go.
I'm not gonna clean it up for you.
Perfect.
So if you want to go out there and do the whole, this is my son. So you know, you want to.
If you want to show one cheek, show both, baby.
Yeah,
if you want to.
But don't get mad at me and tell me I gotta cancel it or pull the episodes because you look bad. You know. But let me. I'm gonna have to go on because we got.
No, I'm sorry, James. I didn't. You know what? I didn't talk too much. I apologize. Anyway, you take care. Again, bless belated Mother's Day to everybody, and take care. Love you. Love the show. Love the Mondays. Love the Thursdays. And just keep it up.
Thank you so much, and happy Mother's Day. Hug your children.
Thank you. All right. Bye bye.
Talk to you. All right, and we have let me just get some super chats. We have some stuff popping off in the super chat zone. Was Raiders Ma $1.99 super chat? Do you think Dayton David went with them to Wyoming? I don't know. I know he was at the repass and stuff, but I don't think he went to the I don't know if he went with them on that day trip to Cody. I don't know if it was worth it for him because that might have been a whole production thing, and he doesn't seem like he wants to have anything to do with the show. So, which actually might be why he got put out of the house between you and me. But thank you so much, Raider Mom. That's a good question. I don't know. I would be interested to find out though. So if anybody knows, let a player know. Put it in the chat because I would be interested in finding out. All right, Raiders Ma in the house. Then we have Lizzie B gifted one my take on reality membership. Thank you so much, Lizzie B. That's awesome. So if you guys don't know, if you go in, I'm gonna see if I can give some membership. I want to gift a membership too. Thank you, Lizzie B. That's awesome. Let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna take it from Lizzie B's example. I'm gonna that doesn't work. I'll figure out how to do it. And Lizzie B, very generous. Thank you so much. We are going to sugar shoot. I'm about to super chat myself. Thank you so much, Lizzie B. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys check in for Monday motivations. That'll be available for the members, and then Wednesday, you guys, the whole public can see it. I'll make it the videos public. I think for this week's Monday motivation, I'm gonna do a little poem for the mothers, and then I'll also do a complimentary video as well. So look forward to that. Thank you so much, Lizzie. All right. So then next up, we have Kat. Kat, what's going on?
Hi, how are you doing, James?
Doing very well.
Good.
Happy Mother's Day, if it applies.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And happy Mother's Day to your wife.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Give her that. First off, I want to talk about Solomon. You don't see him a lot, and they showed him a couple of times tonight. And I think he is so cute. Those dimples got me. And I think he's a sweet kid, so I don't have anything bad to say about him so far. Ari, I think her personality is fun, and I feel like she's got a little rebellious side to her.
Right.
I kind of like her. I'm just hoping as she grows up, she gives Robin hell and becomes her own person, and not become a clone like her older two girls are.
Right.
Kind of send me that vibe. I still don't like them, but but they're grown, so I can say that. And I think I think Robin, I never liked her from the first episode she was ever on. I never liked her. And I think she is a horrible excuse of a mother, a woman, a human being, and in my opinion, just a waste of skin. I can't stand her. Doesn't matter what Cody's done because he's his own person, but I'm talking about her. Like I feel like she's just so conniving and evil. I can't even stand hearing her voice, seeing her. I don't know what he sees in her. But it's just, she just gets she's always got under my skin, but this, through all this, she looks 10 times worse than she ever was. I always liked Dayton. I wish we'd hear how he's doing, but I can respect his right to privacy. I don't blame him for not wanting to be a part of this mess that they've created for the whole family. I don't blame him.
Right.
I do think TLC did a great job on both this episode and the one last week. I thought it was funny how they edited. I don't know if you want me to say his name or not, but the dad. I thought it was funny how they edited him rambling about his signs, and they were overlapping his talking, which I thought was really funny how they did that. It was like them poking fun at him for talking about it so much. And
right.
I do feel like his showing off while they were in Wyoming was his way of covering up his pain and why he was there to begin with. Because I truly do believe he's grieving and in so much pain, he really can't deal with it. And he's trying to cover it up, especially since he's on TV. I don't like him. I don't like what he's done over all the years. But I do have a lot of sympathy for him because I do feel like the emotions he is showing is real and raw. He'll start out talking about Garrison and he seems okay, but then it's like he has real breaks in his voice and you can just see it on his face. He's not faking. And it seemed to me that he was trying so hard to fight showing the emotions, but they're there. I mean, I can't help but see it. And when this was filmed, I'm assuming this was filmed. It was, you know, close to the event in real time for them. So I don't know. I can just see the pain. And even when they were sitting by the fire last week, you know, you can just hear it in his voice, but it's like he's trying to cover it up and like he doesn't want to show it in front of her or maybe in front of the cameras. But but even though I have a lot of compassion for him, um, I feel like he's got so much guilt inside. He'll probably never admit to it. And I don't know how in the world he hasn't changed towards his other kids after it all happened. Because last week he made the comment he didn't get the chance to fix it. That didn't make any sense to me because every single day he's had a chance to fix it. And so by him saying, I didn't get a chance, he had a chance. That was a dumb thing to say. And even after they had their big fight during COVID with his boys, you know, he could have fixed it every day since. None of this had to happen. And I'm not saying he's the cause of what happened with Garrison, but I definitely think it's a contributing factor. And I do think if he had a relationship back with his son, he may not have ever gotten to that point. Um, you know, things could have been different. And I think he knows that deep down, but it just makes me mad that through his actions over the past year, he hasn't fixed anything. And so it just makes me wonder, does he really even care about any of the older kids? Because does he truly care? Because if he did, he would want to fix it with all of them after this.
Right. Well, because I think that there's a subtle difference between it's telling when I'm not going to bash anybody for how they mourn or
Mm-hmm.
where they feel comfortable mourning,
Mm-hmm.
because he may not feel comfortable displaying emotions in front of the cameras
Mm-hmm.
or to the public, especially if he feels like he's not really accepted by the public. Why would you want to be vulnerable to the public?
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand that. But I think that there's a part of it where how you mourn is very telling.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you are upset, are you upset because you lost this person and, you know, they're no longer around and they're going to miss out on things in their life and you won't be able to participate in it? Or are you upset because of how this thing affects you?
Right.
And I think that that's where a lot of the maybe some of the ill feelings towards him and how he's mourning and how he's talking about it are being projected.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much that, we're ignorant of the fact that he's upset. I do think that he's upset, but the question is always, why is he upset?
Right.
And even with regard to we never got a chance to fix it. Like you said, there was an opportunity for you to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem that you have, or the problem that I have, is the lack of, especially for somebody who talks about culpability all the time, it's the lack of taking responsibility for the situation as it turned out. Because you had every opportunity to fix it when you recognized that there was a problem. You had just as much opportunity to fix it as he did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not all on we or us. It's I didn't take my time to fix it or to try to, I was so wrapped up into this dumb situation, the COVID rules and how I felt disrespected, that I missed all this time. And that's where the grief should come in. But it doesn't, because you're trying to share the responsibility.
Right.
And more to the point, you're trying to share the blame. And that's where I think the failing comes in.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the heat and the anger for him comes from, is that he's not acknowledging his part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's where he gets into trouble. But I mean, overall, like I said, I can't be mad at him. It's his son. When push him down and shove, I might have liked Garrison. I liked how Garrison presented himself. I thought he was he came off to me as a straight up type of person, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I didn't have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And he did. The Curly Q Cowboy did. So that, I can only go so far.
Yeah.
And I'm sad for everybody involved, because I'm not just sad for for Big G's, but I'm also sad for his other children
Mhm.
who, when things happen, and I'm saying this as a grown ass man. I've been grown for a long time. I'm saying this as a grown ass man. When things happen, there are times to this day, if something bad happened to me, I would want to pick up the phone and call my parents.
Mhm.
You understand what I mean? Like, I don't care how old you get. You be 190 years old, something happy, you be like, mama. Like, it's just the kind of the way it works out.
Yeah.
So when this terrible thing happened to Garrison's siblings, it happened to them too. It didn't just happen to Cody. This isn't something that just happened to him and he's experiencing by himself, so he has to deal with his grief. This also happened to these other young people.
Right.
And so it seems like there's a lack of investment in making sure that these other young people are okay. One, two, recognizing your loss and then saying, you know what, I lost the opportunity with him. I'm going to make sure I don't lose any more opportunities with these other kids, because now, even though we've talked about it before, but now I know for sure how fragile life is. And two, how this could actually happen to me. I'm
Mhm.
not above it. And I could be sitting here with another child that I'm putting in the ground. So I'm going to make every opportunity to have that. And I think that that's another reason why so many people are a little terse when it comes to the two of them.
That's right, because you know, I was truly, I always thought since the beginning of the show that Gabe was more of the sensitive kid. Um,
Mhm.
he's the one, even, you know, when they were having, during COVID, you know, they were having all these fights and he was so upset about his dad and crying about, you know, his dad not remember his birthday. I was truly always more concerned with him and his mental health at that time, because I thought, you know, he just come across as more sensitive, um, you know, just a more, you know, wears his feelings on his sleeves type of guy, you know. And so I was always more concerned about him. So when this happened, I was like, and him being the one to find Garrison, horrific. It's
Right.
like I can't imagine what this poor kid is dealing with. But all these kids, I mean, all of them growing up on the show, you know, coming of age on a show. How horrible. You know, it's your life is, you know, you go to school and you're hearing comments, you know these kids are out saying things to them while they were at school about the show and
Mhm.
things. Um, how horrible for them to deal with. That's a lot for anyone to deal with, but kids. So I worry about all of them, but um, they all pretty much seem like they're doing well and they're okay. But I mean, they've all got to have some issues, you know. Everyone has
Right.
issues, and so, but to grow up like that is very hard. But I was always really worried about Gabe, and I still worry about Gabe. Um, but I do believe that Cody's emotions were real and visible, and it was hard to watch. But it makes me mad that if he, you know, is hurting inside somewhere, why he hasn't tried to reach out and fix it with his other kids now, because this should have been the wake up call. And it's not, clearly it hasn't been, because we've watched, you know, for over a year now, he hasn't changed anything. And
Right.
that sucks. But Christine and David, I mean, this episode to me was harder to watch than last week. This is the one that really choked me up tonight. I really, you know,
Mhm.
it was hard to watch all of it. You know, I I have respect for them wanting to show this, because if they're on a reality show, you know, this is part of the reality, and it's like a privilege to be let in to this side of it, because they didn't have to. Um, so you know, I have some respect for the family wanting to let people in, and maybe in a little way, it's kind of healing for them to be able to talk about it. Um, but you know, it's just, I really liked how David stepped up this week and commented like he did, and he's just been a great support. It's amazing to me how he just let he just went along with whatever Christine wanted to talk about, and and just backed her
Right.
up and supportive. I was really impressed by that. I do like him a lot. And he was even emotional. And, there was a YouTube creator, I won't mention her name, but she had made a comment last week about, well, where was David? Why didn't they show him this week? Where was he? And all this. And it made me so mad when now I don't like her videos anyway. Like, I don't give her a thumbs up on any of her because she irritates me a lot. But at the same time, she's kind of funny. I do still listen to her, but I purposely quit liking her videos a long time ago because she complains about a lot about other creators, and it's just kind of sounds dumb a lot. And but some things she says are funny, and I'll agree with her point. But I still don't like her videos. But just when I think, okay, I'm going to like this video because I'm going to start liking her again and all that, then she'll say something stupid, and I just can't like it. It's like, because it made me so mad that she actually said, where was David? Why wasn't he out here? And I'm sitting here like, dude, did you not forget how his wife died? I mean,
Right.
it was obvious to me why maybe he wasn't on last week, but I was glad to see him this week. I was just glad to see him there for Janelle. And
Right. Well, for Christine, but I
yes.
I agree that I think that one of the things that I like about their relationship, seeing their relationship, is there's some things that you can fake. There's situations that you can make, but there are some things, true connection and chemistry, you can't. A lot of times, it's very difficult for
Mhm.
you to present that in an inauthentic way on camera and for it to come off authentically.
Mhm.
And the way that the two of them were just casually sitting there playing cards, like let's do a comparison. The way they were playing cards this week and having a conversation versus us watching the the cruelty couple, the curly cute couple having a family game night when they were playing
Yeah.
Jenga.
Yeah.
When they were playing Jenga, I was like, I had to feel like they've never even seen this game before.
Mhm.
But there was a connection between the way Christine and David were playing that let me feel like the two of them have connected in a way that the other group hadn't.
Mhm.
So and that's something that you can't, like, you can script it, but you can't. How it comes off on TV is completely different. The camera help you. Doesn't help you at all.
Right. Yeah. Um, yeah, I am happy Gabe is in counseling. I remember last season, or maybe it was earlier this season. Um, he was
Right.
talking to Janelle in the kitchen or something, and he was talking about going through counseling. I'm really happy he's doing that. Um, her going to the Humane Society really broke me up. I mean, the woman,
Mhm.
she couldn't even talk and had to have Savannah speak for her. Every time she spoke in this episode, it was like she would stop. And um, God, my heart aches for her so bad. And I say prayers for her, Mary, and Christine, um, all the time, that their pain is lessened a little bit every day, because I couldn't. I have 3 kids. Two are grown, one's still with me, and it's man, it's like I couldn't imagine. And I just I hurt for all of them. And Mary and Christine, they were really just as much a mom to all the older kids themselves, because they were there since they were born. They all
Mhm.
helped pitch in, take care of them. They raise these kids. It's so hard. And yeah, I don't know. That was really hard to watch tonight. But um, with him having that picture of Garrison in the garage, the way I see it, I mean, it sounds crazy that he's got this picture. It's in a garage, but I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? That's probably it's in there because that's where he spends most of his time, so he can get away from Robin. Because I'm
Mm.
sure she doesn't want to see that picture in her house because of her being so complicit in the distance between Cody and the rest of his kids. And she won't want to look at it, reminding her of her part and everything. So, she's probably saying, well, I don't want that out. And I don't think they have a great relationship like they try to portray. Um, Did you notice when they were in Wyoming and it was raining, he kind of snapped at her and said, "Well, what do you want us to do?" Or something like that. He said, "What do you want us
Right.
to do?" You know, I feel like that happens a lot. But I don't know. I'm just like, he probably puts it out there because he probably spends most of his time out there. Um, I don't know, and I don't. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what he's. If he's ever wants to even look at it himself because of his own guilt and everything. But maybe he does. I don't know. The but overall, I think TLC did a great job last week and this week. I like how they did it last week. A lot of people were saying they wish they had done kind of a montage and it had been more about actually Garrison's life. I liked how they did it because it showed the real time shock of finding out
Mm.
what happened, and then this week was more of them reflecting deeper on him as a person, and then going to the humane shelter and talking about the cats and all the money that had been raised in his name, and then they did a little montage of videos at the end. I just thought it was really really touching, and I liked how they did the two parts.
Right, right. I think that they're doing a good job. Like at the end of the day, there'll be, I'm sure at the last episode or when they do the memorial, they'll have a whole montage then.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think that there there's a difference. Like I think that there's a subtle difference because when you talk about the impact of somebody's presence in somebody's life, you have to show the person that was impacted by that person's presence
right.
to fully understand the depth and breadth of their contribution to that person's life
Hmm.
and the depth and breadth of the loss of that person in the other person's life. So seeing how Garrison, like them being notified is one thing, but seeing them struggling to get through and trying to figure out how they're going to make it to the next day, I think that that's an important part of it too, because too often it's easier for us as audience members to see them get notified. Oh my gosh, this is what happened. Oh no, it's terrible. And then flash forward to them at an amusement park in the
Right,
next episode.
right.
It's easier for us to digest, but that's not reality and that's not realistic
Hmm.
because they after you're notified, the initial shock in some respects is it crashes down on you, but the long-term grief is what eats you alive.
Right.
It's that time when you think you're okay, only to realize that you're not okay. That's what eats you up. That's the hard part of grief. Like the initial shock is terrible and it's horrible to hear in the beginning. And you might question the world, you might question God, you might question all existence. But that time flashes through. And then what you're left with, that raw, brittle, frail, exposed emotion, that's what's difficult. And I think that they're doing a good job in showing that part of it.
They really are because, yeah, you're right. Because it's like after the first few days of losing somebody, you are, everybody's around. There's a lot going on. There's, it's busy. Uh, a lot of food being brought over, things like that. After about a week, that goes away, and you're kind of left to really think about it, and you're left
Mm,
to come to the realization you've lost that person. That's how it was. I lost my dad. It'll be 4 years in October, and he and I were very very tight, and I had a lot of time with him in the end and stuff, and he lived a full long life. So but it was you know it's like that. There's not one day goes by, not to mention several times in a day, that he's not in my head. But now I
right.
can look at it like I can talk about him, and not always, but I can sit here and talk about him with you and put a smile on my face about him, and I can, remember everything, and I can talk about him and not tear up. Some days I still do. And it's but he's always, always in my head, always in my mind. And so,
Right.
it does get a little easier. The grief seems to change a little over time. You always miss them, but the grief eases up. Like the really painful part of it eases off, and then you start, you know, just talking about him like every day. And yes, you miss him. Yes, it still hurts, but it's more like I can talk about him and smile about him, and rather
Right.
than talk about him and just burst into tears, it's
Right.
and I've got my mom here with me, so she moved in with me this year, well, October last year, and so I'm getting the time with her, which is great. So she's 85, so and she's done pretty well, off and on.
Right.
So but it's good. I don't regret one day of not having time with my dad, because I had a whole lot of time with my dad. So I was his caretaker and things, and that was great. And then I'm getting to do that for my mom, and I'm appreciating that time, every minute of it. It's hard being a caretaker sometimes, but I wouldn't trade it. It's good. So I love the time. I don't have those regrets of not spending enough time with my family. So I get that. But yeah, the grief, you're right. That initial shock and the first few days is kind of busy days. You're just busy. But yeah, after that, when things settle and people kind of quit coming around so much, or they quit calling so much, or that's when it really hits you. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I do like how they're kind of showing all the stages. And I appreciate how TLC is doing this.
Right. Right.
I
I
think
think
they're
they're
doing
doing
a great job with it.
Yeah. And I was, like I said, I was nervous in the beginning
I was
because I wasn't
too.
sure how they were going to do it. I was like, you guys drop a lot of balls. I don't know.
I was too.
But
They put a lot of thought behind it, and I'm glad they came out with the way they're doing it. I do appreciate how they're doing it, because I haven't always liked how they've done this show.
right.
But they did good.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
But thank you for calling in. I appreciate you.
I
Oh, and
appreciate you.
like I said, Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell your mom I say Happy Mother's Day as well.
I certainly will. We did a lot for her, so that was good. But yeah, and tell your wife. Make sure you tell your wife.
I will. I will. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll
All right.
talk
Have a
to you
great
later.
night.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Oh, let me just do a real quick super chat, and then we'll get to Brittany. Now, Brittany, that was an excellent call from Kat. Let me give Brittany. Now, Brittany, where's she at? Here we are. Super chat. Oh, wait, that's not the right one. But Micah People, $5 super chat. What's going on? He is grieving, but they always say the one that did. I love this. I love this saying. The one that did you wrong in life screams the loudest at your funeral. This is so true. This is so true. Oh no! Put me in there with him. You could have called him. I didn't have his number. It's been the same number for the last 20 years. I lost my phone. But I 100% agree. Like I get he's grieving, and everybody's going to grieve in different ways, and I can't belittle the way that he's grieving because, again, that's his son. So he's gonna have to feel it, and ultimately, the sad part about it is that, and this is also part of karma's ugly edge. The sad part about it is that whether I recognize it, don't recognize it, or whatever the case may be, there is going to come a day. Whether it's come or not, it will come, if it hasn't already, when you're going to be sitting, the curly Q cowboy, Baldy Locks, is going to be sitting around, and he's going to have to face the fact that he didn't do everything that he could have did. There's a lot of stuff that coulda, woulda, shoulda is going to eat his ass up. And that was one of the things that I appreciate with Kat, what she said. Like, if you give people their flowers while they hear and they can smell them, when they move on, it's not easier. It's never easier. That's a lie. But it becomes more manageable when you do everything you can do while they're here, as opposed to having a coulda, woulda, shoulda, if I only called them, if I maybe put stuff aside. That was a dumb reason to stop talking to him. I could have took more time if I'd have did that. That will eat you alive. And unfortunately for him, that's where he's going to find himself at. And then the things that you hold up as so important and you want to maintain this relationship, and it's so deadly important that you have, everybody respect your wife the way you respect your wife, and they don't talk to her the way you want them to, then I'm going to cut them off. And you felt like a boss when you did it. I know you did. You felt like a boss when you cut them off. But now they're not here anymore. You realize how dumb that was and how petty that was. And you're going to have to ride that out for the rest of your days. And that's the sad part about it. And that's also when we talk about like his train of grief, that's going to be one of the cars in that train. In his train of grief, that's going to be one of the cars. And that bad boy might be a sleeper car. Okay, because he might sit in that mother for a while. Just saying. But yeah, I love that saying. Michael, people with the $5 super chat. He is grieving, but they always say the one that did you wrong in life screams the loudest at your funeral. 100%. Let me give her a little something, something. Mike, a little something, something. I'm saying, let me give them a little something, something. Here you go. Brava, brava. I love that. Next up, we got Brittany. Now, Brittany, what's going on, Mega Mod? Brittany, how you doing?
Hey, James, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Glad to hear from you. Are you in?
Yes.
Are you?
One more time.
Do you have babies?
I don't have babies. No babies yet.
Oh, okay. No
Yeah.
fur babies?
Well, no fur babies. Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear from you anyway. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Real quick, I just want to say before I get started, in the what's the app that you can join in to like get on with you? What is it called?
SpeakPipe.
SpeakPipe. Okay.
SpeakPipe.com.
Yes. On SpeakPipe, when you throw up the little dancing emoji guy, it does not show up on this half. So all I see is you
Oh.
dancing. And I was like, what's happening? That makes sense.
Oh, wow.
But
That's good to know.
yes. It was a fun dance. It was a fun dance. I was just waiting on the little dancing man, and I was like, nothing's happening. But he's just dancing to nothing.
Right. What's going on?
Right. But so just to get into it, because these are such really hard episodes to watch. Cody's grief is, I think it is genuine for him. It's for him. I think it's the best that he can do. And, everybody else who has been watching it from outside and, has healthy ways of communicating with people, yeah, we're going to judge it a lot because it is not, I don't want to say normal because what even is normal, but it's not socially acceptable, what he's done, how he's treated his kids. And, now he has to, like you said, he has to sit in that. He has to sit in the fact that, like the last caller said, he had time. He had plenty of time. When Cody said, it was a couple seasons ago, I think, and he was like, when after Janelle was like, you didn't even get Savannah anything for Christmas. And Cody he just shrugged and he was like, there'll be other Christmases. When he said that, obviously there's no way of knowing that anything like this would happen. But I was like, that sat so wrong with me. Because I was like, you don't know that. You don't know that. And Cody lost a brother. He lost his younger brother suddenly, just out of nowhere. So just how quickly in an instant things can change. To make such comments is is terrible, and then he sits there and he wants the audience to feel sorry for him. And yes, I do feel sorry for him because that's a horrible thing to, to experience, but that only goes so far. I
Right.
can't really
Right.
sit there and, you know, boo hoo hoo with you about, all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, because you had a lot of time for the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and you stubbornly chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
So I, I don't know what to say. I really don't. And that girl that he married to, she, I really want to give her grace and just be like, okay, maybe she just, she knows how the audience feels about her crying, so she's going to try to be the more stoic person. But no, no, even in his passing, she doesn't have anything good to say about Garrison.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Everyone has said something, about who Garrison was. Even Cody in his own way said something about, who Garrison was. All Robin said was his ashes rode with us in a car. And Garrison was mad about that.
Yeah, he was a passenger.
Right.
He was a passenger.
That's
Yeah, because that makes everybody feel awesome.
Gary was somewhere punching air. Cause I know y'all don't got me in here with this woman that I don't like on this
Right.
pilgrimage back to Wyoming. Mm-mm. No. And I'm kind of glad that she really doesn't say much. It's like half and half. Part of me wishes that she would actually, talk about Garrison, give some sort of insight. And at the same time, I know, and I'm sure she knows, that it would be disingenuous because she knows she didn't like that boy. She didn't like him at all.
Right.
And
Right. Well, because I think that there's
Mhm,
also the point too where she's she's not only focused so heavily on keeping them separate because she didn't like them. Like she
mhm,
said the whole thing, like, "Oh well, I don't want him to go and apologize for me or have to apologize to me. I just want them to be able to work it out so we can get together as a family." But I do think that she held some resentment. I think that she was angry. And I do think that there is a point where she's okay with the family being separate. And
mhm,
there's a conflict in her trying to uh teach her younger kids about the family and bring them in and talk about how awesome Garrison was, because there's
mhm,
a reality where the kids could very well look at you and say, well, if he's so awesome and he's so great, how come we really don't know him, mom? How come we didn't really
mhm,
get a chance to spend time with him, mom, if he was so amazing? So you have to
mhm,
hold up your end of the facade by saying, like, look, you know, this was your brother. You didn't really, he had problems, and that's usually how they classify. He had
mhm.
problems and issues. That's why you guys didn't really get a chance to know him. But I do want you to feel bad because he was, in fact, your brother, even though they don't have the bond of a brotherly relationship or sibling relationship. And that's the sad part about it.
They don't have the bond. They don't even have pictures in the house. Even even before, and that's what, when we talk about the ramen noodle man with the picture of Garrison in the garage. It'd be one thing if the picture was in the garage because, it's just hard to have it in the house. This will just be a sacred space for Garrison, and all the pictures get moved out there. I I could understand that. I could understand that. But y'all never had the pictures in the house, and this because Robin says that none of the kids know who any of their siblings are.
Right.
So you can't even give them the grace. everything that they've done leading up to this moment makes it pretty much impossible to give them the grace of going through this time of grief, because they've said so much terrible things leading up to this, and they've done so many terrible things, and it's not about blame, because there's so much going on, in a person's life that leads them to that moment. And I can
Right.
say that as someone who has like been in that moment and thankfully did not, nothing happened and I'm still here. But you can't set aside all of the moving parts that led them to that moment. And those two are part of those moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's not a fault, quote unquote. It's just a reality that's where they are. Um and I did appreciate David's input this episode. And you can just tell that David is just such a compassionate person. I remember you were talking about, earlier when we were talking about David, how we don't know David. We see a lot about David. And, Christine tells us who David is, but we don't really know David.
Right.
And I think this was that it had to be for this moment, but I do think that this was a moment for us, the audience, to get to know David, to see who he is as a person. He's just a guy trying to be there for his wife in a hard time, and also someone who knows what it's like to lose someone in that way.
Right.
And he was able to speak on it. And even, he said it was 14 years ago. Even just talking about it then, he was still, you can tell that he's still heartbroken about it. He's moved on. He's with Christine. He loves Christine. It's great. But that he cared about his previous wife. And you juxtapose that with Cody, who's been talking about how he never loved any of these women for the last 3 seasons. So
Well, because that's all ego. The same ego where you're sitting there ready to mourn the loss of your son, and you take your kids back to celebrate your life and how you grew up, and you sit there and talk about how you were a ladies' man. Like, that's just kind of, it's just indicative more or less of who you are as a person. And I think
I
that's kind of where it is.
real quick, speaking of that, I do want to say I kind of started liking Aurora and Brianna these last couple episodes, or like these last few episodes, because when they make eye contact with each other, they are
Mhm.
saying so much to each other in them little
Yeah.
side eyes. Like
Yeah. They're sisters. That
you
sisterly
know,
bond. That's what that is.
they're just like, he really,
Are we going
he's,
there? Like, it's
he's like,
weirdo. Like, who,
okay,
who
right,
tells their
okay.
kids, like, yeah, I used to roll through it. That's why I used to scoop my honey. It's like, who
It's just
who
like, what?
does that? I'm sitting there with your mom, and I'm talking about, yeah, I used to pick up all the babes up on this. That's why I used to come when I was
Right.
carousing with my boys. Like,
Mhm.
who does that?
But I
The
wasn't a
weirdo.
ladies' man. Like,
Right.
sir, you're
And
so
you say it in a way that's totally saying that I'm trying to brag about being a ladies' man, but I'm going to feign embarrassment and deny it. Like, come on,
right.
man. Like, come on.
To your kids though. That's it's one
Right.
thing if he's sitting, like with his boys, and he's, trying to be, all fake humble. But it's weird to do that with your children. Like
Right.
it's
Well, how about this? Add
Mhm.
1 plus 1. It's weird to do that with children whom you're trying to tell to stay celibate. Like, you're
Yes.
preaching the doctrine of celibacy, and then at the
Mhm.
same time, you're talking about how you used to go out cruising for chicks on the main drag every Saturday night, Friday and Saturday night, and you used to pick the ladies up. Like, come on, man, you can't be boss player and talk about how great it was when you were out there carousing and running through these women, and then say it
Right.
to your children at the same time, but make sure you guys keep yourselves holy and sacred,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only way anybody's ever going to want you, if you keep your purity. Like, what? Like, you're sending out mixed messages. Like,
You
so
send out
I
mixed
don't know.
messages, especially because we already know that Robin didn't have her purity. So you've already lied in that space
Mhm.
together, because why are you with her?
Right,
I
right.
wasn't supposed
And
to
you know
say her
what? I'm gonna
name.
be honest with you. I'm a inside baseball. Just in my
Mhm.
experience. My experience as a dude. As a dude. When I talk to other dudes, and a dude
Mhm.
sit around and he makes it a point to talk about how many ladies he's had or been with, that dude was lonely. He
Absolutely.
was a lonely cat, 100%. So when
Absolutely.
Cody's, yeah, when he feels the need to sit there and talk about all the women that he was scooping, that dude he spent a lot of Friday and Saturday nights by himself.
I'm
Like, that's just
I'm
a feeling I got.
I'm gonna apologize for this comment. I'm gonna pre-apologize because I'm gonna say it anyway. You know that this man is a missionary man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just based on these comments alone. Based on those comments alone, I already know. We don't need to.
Right, right.
It's fine.
He's not tearing it up. Yeah,
At all.
he ripping it up to pieces.
At all.
Maybe that's why the women so, hey, you need to go ahead and get out of here. I need my 2
Absolutely.
days. I'm tired of this, mister.
And you know
And
what?
a mister.
It actually makes sense why Mary wasn't as like viciously angry as she should have been.
Right, right.
Because going that long, she should have been much more upset than what she was. But obviously it was fine either way for her. So
Yeah, yeah. She just didn't know what she was missing out on.
right. And then that's I think that's all that they had. Oh, back to last week's episode, and then I'm
Mm,
done. There was a lot of criticisms about, how the episode started. I didn't necessarily care for it either, but in a sense I appreciated it because you see Christine just having, a good old time, yelling at David. You have Mary, running around, talking about the um the house or whatever. And then out of nowhere, life changes, you
right.
know?
That
And
is, yeah.
from from that perspective, I could appreciate how the episode started. I think they carried it on a bit too long,
Hmm.
you know? Um, but from if I look at it from that standpoint, I could appreciate, you know, it starting off, pretty light, because that's kind of how death happens. You're just walking around having a grand old time for the most part, and then grief.
Right.
So,
No, I 100%
yeah.
agree. Like, I think that I think what they were trying to do was, I remember years ago I was in this class, story time. I was in this acting class,
Hmm.
and I was watching this exercise. It was a play called The Rabbit Hole. It's a pretty deep subject matter. Like, there's a young couple. Well, I guess not a young couple. It's a couple, married couple. Their son is run over by a car, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
question as to, like, when the husband went out, he didn't lock the gate. Like, the gate didn't close all the way, and then the wife, she was supposed to be watching the child. I
Hmm.
think he was like 5 or 6, and he chased the dog out into the street. Like, he ran out of the house, down the sidewalk, chased the dog into the street, and he got hit by a high school kid. And
Hmm.
there's a scene in it where they have a tape, and the tape is like a long tape of a birthday party with the child, like,
Hmm.
who's passed. And the whole scene is just basically them arguing because the wife inadvertently erased the tape. She taped over it.
Oh.
And so they
Hmm.
lost that footage.
Oh no.
And yeah, yeah. And the way that this scene usually is done, both people come in amped up, ready to argue. And so it just comes off angry and hateful.
Mhm.
The best portrayal of that scene I've ever seen is two people come in, they're having a relaxing time. They get to a point where they're actually laughing with one another. Then they have a breakdown and they
Mhm.
realize that the tape is taped. And I say all that to say this. If at some point you have to have the basis to understand why these two people are still together. If
Mhm.
it's so bad that you blame each other for the loss of this child, then you shouldn't be together. But
Right.
there has to be something that ties you together. And in what ties them, what I say all that to say this with regard to this episode, what
Mhm.
ties them into humanity is the fact that this is how tragedy happens. You're having a perfectly normal day, your kids are
Mhm.
over, your family's there, you're playing frisbee, your husband's ready to climb over the fence and bust his whole ass trying to climb the fence because he want to play to be young, but he got the old man knees and he ready to snap, crackle, pop his way
Yep.
into the emergency room, right? And you're doing all that, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call, and everything that was going on has just been erased. Like
Mhm.
you might even get to a point you can't even remember what you were doing that day, or you remember. Well, actually, what happens is you remember exactly where you were and what
Exactly
you
where
were
you
doing.
were. Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that becomes burning in memory. But they walked us through it, and that was like the opening of them actually letting us in. And this is something I've
Yeah.
been complaining about this particular series for a little while because they kind of been mailing this whole thing in for a bit, where
Yeah.
they just kind of talk about like old issues and they just
Mhm.
rehash them, but we don't ever really see like how it affects them or what's actually going on in their life and these
Mhm.
big issues, how it's affecting them or changing their how they approach things. And this is the one chance we got to say. I can see what you're saying about it being drug out a little further than it should have been. But I think that it was important because it's all of the process, like the notification, then how they're dealing with it this week, and a preparation for the final resting place. Next week,
Mhm.
the final resting place, and probably the fourth one will be like the montage and memory thing. I'm assuming that's probably
Yes.
how it's going to go.
I think I think so too. And Mary's grief is everybody's grief is hard to watch, except for Robin's, because she don't
Hmm.
got none. But everybody's grief is hard to watch. The way I know people don't like Mary, generally speaking, they don't really care for Mary. But you can't tell me that Mary doesn't care for those kids. Was she a perfect mom to all of them? No, but who really is? And until her
You
or
can make arguments
McKelty
against all of them for
or
sure.
or Peyton come out and say whatever they got to say about her, and the thing that she did, I don't know. I hold space for that potentially being something that happened, but you know, she definitely loved those kids, and the way she just can't keep it together, it is probably it's not as hard as seeing Janelle fall apart because, like Janelle said, she is pretty stoic. But yeah, seeing Mary get choked up, that is also hard to
Mm.
watch too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that like the OG3, I think that they genuinely care. I think, to be honest with you, I think Cody cares,
Yes.
like in his own in the way he cares. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is kind of an asshole thing to say, and I'm acknowledging that up front.
Mm-hmm.
One of my reservations uh with the Lord Fauntleroy's better half
Uh-huh.
is I feel like she understands that she should care and she needs to care for the perception on the show, but she
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't. Like it is what it is. Like I can't make you like somebody, not like somebody, or care about somebody you don't care about. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
based on what you said before, you should care, but it's just kind of coming off like you don't. And if you
It's
don't, it is what it is.
then
But
it is what it is. But all I'm saying is, like, we watched if if she were like Janelle and she wasn't someone who was like prone to like big displays of emotions, I would be, I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm sure she cares. She just can't show it. But because we have watched her cry episode after episode, season after season, year after year, we watch her cry. She cried because she ain't get her porch. She cried because then people
Yeah.
were mad at her about the kiss. She cried about the dress. She cried because she just loved Maddie so much in the first episode. But you don't have any tears. You don't even got a red
Right.
nose.
Right.
You don't
Well,
you don't
you
have
know what?
anything for this.
The crazy part is that when we say cry, let's be very clear. We say cry, she makes the faces like she scrunch her
Oh,
face up and she dabs her eyes.
she
Cry.
faked for sure. She faked
Right.
for sure. Every single
But
time.
the issue I have is that lady, you didn't even attempt. Like
She
you didn't
didn't
even
even
attempt
play.
to cry. Like what is going on? Like for sure. I'm like, if any time would have been appropriate, forget Christine talk about she leaving and say she don't want to be your friend. You cried for that.
Mm-hmm.
You cried because like you said, the porch thing. You cried because COVID. You cried because you cry. But something like this is the time that you should have been like stretching in the back, like
Boo-hooing.
emotionally. You should have been stretching and getting limbered up because this is the grand Olympics of why you should cry.
Girl, we
You
watched you
understand?
lay in the
So,
floor of your bathroom.
right.
In the bathroom floor. We watched you sit in the bathroom floor and boo-coos of tears.
Right. And Negla
And
said she cried while wrapping Christmas presents. Yeah.
And
And I
did.
agree.
And
I
did.
agree.
She probably cried when she got them American Doll outfits. But you
Right.
don't got
Bro,
nothing
she
for
cried when
this.
she was supposed to be going on her first date with Cody. He's my soulmate.
He's my soulmate. And I
Right.
just want to thank them, for making such a good man.
Right. But like if you could cry because you felt like you couldn't be a part of the kids' lives, you should cry because they're no longer here. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Everybody's gonna grieve different. I'm just saying. That'd be my expectation. I'm just saying.
I just I don't get it, and I don't know. There's really nothing that she could do to come back. Like, I just don't like her, and I'm not gonna like her.
Yeah.
So it really didn't matter what she
Yeah, she
did.
missed opportunity. I would
But
even here's a cold butter part. I might not like it, but I would respect the fact if she would have came out and said, "Yeah, I didn't like him, or I really dislike him because of what happened with COVID, or because of what he said to me." You
mm-hmm.
guys just don't understand. If she would came out and said, "I don't like him," then it is what it is, right?
Right.
And I could respect that more. I wouldn't like it, but I could definitely respect it more. But
Mm-hmm.
where I kind of struggle, well, not kind of, where I struggle with her is that you're trying to tell me one thing about how important the family is, important everybody is, and all this. But then when it comes time for you to demonstrate how important the family is, you just always seem to fall short. And it's not just the crying thing. It's also the point where I feel like she's trying to manage, and that's a big point. I got to do a video about that. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but like I feel like she's trying to manage Cody's emotions,
Mm-hmm.
whereas on the flip side of that, conversely, when you look at David and Christine, he's not managing her emotions. He's allowing her to experience her emotions, and
Mm-hmm.
he's helping her through it. There is a very big difference between those that
Yes.
relationship dynamics. Huge difference. One
Mm-hmm.
I think is way more healthier than the other way. You know.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that, it also puts into perspective that both her and David have experienced similar loss in this in
Mhm.
this capacity. And it's interesting because, if she were coming from the perspective where she had never known anything like that to happen, it would be one thing for her to try to manage Cody because she doesn't quite have that experience of such a loss.
Right.
But she does have that experience, and
Mm.
she does know what that feels like in the same way
Right.
that David does, and she goes the total opposite way than what is healthy,
Yeah. Hero and a villain.
you know? But I'm gonna let you go because I'm sure you have a couple other people behind me, and I also got to get to bed. So,
Yeah. Yeah. We're about to close it down. I gotta get some sleep. I gotta get up early,
yes.
early.
Ooh,
But I
early
appreciate you
heavens.
calling in. Thank you for calling in, and thanks for all that you do as a mega mod.
Of
Appreciate
course,
you.
I be trying. This seemed to have been like a chill group tonight. I wasn't able to see the whole chat, but we didn't have no
Yeah,
rough
no, tonight
rousers
was from what
tonight.
I saw was everybody was good tonight. Like not
Yes.
not that everybody's not good. It's weird because like I talked to my wife about it, and like I was like, I've been getting like these weird like troll folks here and there
Mm-hmm.
popping up. One
Mm-hmm.
person shall remain nameless, but completely ridiculous. But the whole thing is that like she just has a perspective that as you this might just be the precipice of as you start to
Yes.
expand into new markets, people just come after you or whatever,
Yeah.
trying to pull you out. But it is what it is. We gonna keep it moving positive. I don't let none of this stuff get to me.
You're right. You're handling it very, very, very well.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, I
I'm over
appreciate
here
that.
cussing.
Yeah, you guys are helping me out a lot. You guys don't realize how much you help me out. Because I don't want to be that dude jumping. What the F? Who you? Yeah. Well,
But
but I appreciate you guys.
of course, of course. Well, I'm gonna sign off,
All
and
right. Well,
yeah,
all right. Well, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate you.
no problem. Bye.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.
All right. Bye. Awesome. That's awesome. It's Brittany, not Brittany, like guys. Everybody put some hearts in the chat. Put some more hearts in the chat for the moms. Give them some love before we go. Because the moms are awesome. None of us would be here without the moms and the dads. Y'all got to recognize. Give them their flowers. This would be a lonely planet without Mom Dukes. Believe that. You know what I mean? But the folks who are willing to step in and do the thing that's necessary to keep this bad boy afloat. Oh, before we go, I want to make sure I give a huge shout out to everybody who keep doing some super chats. YouTube is my time machine. Raiders Ma, Eve R, Victoria Perry, Kathy Ferran with the super sticker, Lizzie B gifted a membership. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lizzie B. And of course, we can't forget Mika People. What's up? Oh, we just got another super chat. Inhalation aerosols. Okay. 499 super chat. Proud of the family openly discussing mental illness. As someone who struggles, it's amazing how they honor him and educate others. Yes, that's very important. And I think that it's also important to recognize, like I had a video that I put out a little while ago talking about depression and stuff. I think it's also very important to recognize that that's not something that is a quick fix. It's not something like if you have somebody in your life who is struggling with any type of mental illness, whether it's depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, anything. This isn't something that's a short-term ordeal or something that calls for a quick fix. Like it's not going to be repaired because you're tired of doing it. This is something that they potentially may be dealing with for the rest of their lives. So it's not, in some cases, it's not about curing, it's about managing. It's about managing and recognizing that it's not something that some folks, they'll have good days and they'll have bad days. And it's as people who love them and people who are trying to help them, it's important and it's incumbent upon us to be able to step in and understand that it's not their fault. It's not something that they ask for. It's not behavior. It's not something that they choose to do. It's something that is happening to them, and you are helping them through those difficult times. And it's just, and again, it's that commitment and understanding that this is something that they will be struggling with for over the long haul and a long period. It's not something that's a quick fix. You go talk to a therapist one afternoon, they have a good conversation, they hit you with some Confucius quotes, they pull out some some Sartre or Sartre, or they pull out some Foucault or whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, bango, you're fixed. They hit you with a couple Descartes, Descartes quotes, and it will send you on your way, and you're all good to go, and you're ready for the world. That's not how it works, And even though I say, like, I hope that Janelle is seeking therapy. One, let's be honest, not all therapists are great therapists, but even beyond that, it's not a quick fix. It's not a guarantee. And it's not something like there's a relationship that has to be formed even in that treatment. But I did a video a little while ago talking about depression. Actually, I think it was my last week's Monday, Motivational Monday video, where I was talking about depression. And my hope is that as we talk about mental illness, we recognize that the mental health is just as important as physical health, and treatment for mental illness is just as important as treatment for physical ailments. So if you, like, for instance, you break your leg, you go to the doctor and they'll x-ray your leg and they'll give you treatment to help you heal from that injury. If you are suffering with mental illness, this isn't something where you just say, hey, I'm gonna just walk it off. I'm gonna deal with it myself. I ain't gotta worry about nothing, because in some cases it goes beyond just a state of mind. There might be a need for medication. There might be a need for further treatment. There might be a need for extraneous measures that are well and beyond just put a smile on your face and have a brighter side or a better disposition and a better attitude. So I think that that's also important. And again, I totally agree with inhalation aerosols, that at the end of the day, one of the things that I do like about, or I won't say I like because of the subject matter, but one of the things that I appreciate about the way TLC is handling this and the way the Brown family is participating in this very delicate subject is that it does open up for the conversation for us to actually talk about depression and how it affects individuals. And not only does it affect the individuals who are suffering with it, but it affects the people around them and the people who care about them. Because this is something that I really do think that we need to get a better understanding of as a community and as a society, as a people, so that we can destigmatize actually getting help. We can destigmatize people who actually suffer with this. And hopefully we can create environments, situations, and places where they're able to get the treatment that they need or find the support systems that they need. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. Great. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. And thank you so much for the super chat as well. But definitely thank you for the comment. Let me give you a little something. Brava. Amazing. Then we have Lizzie B coming through with another one membership for My Take on Reality membership. Make sure you guys have the toggles and the clicks and all that stuff so that you're eligible to get a membership. But thank you so much for your generosity, Lizzie B. I really appreciate you. Also, one of my mega mods, holding player down. I'll send her an email. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. And make sure you guys check back for if you're a member, make sure you check in for the Monday Motivations video. We're going to be dropping that. Also, Lizzie beat me to it. Speak Pipe, where you can ask your questions, leave your thoughts or comments. You can drop the tea that you want to drop, or bring up the issues that you want to bring up. It's at speakpipe.com/my take on reality. You have 90 seconds. You don't have to leave your name. You can put in anonymous, and you can leave it that way. Or if you say, James, I don't want my voice on there, but this is the issue that I would like to ask, or a subject matter I would like you to talk about, blah, 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 I can do it that way as well. Okay. It's just a way for you guys to be able to participate in the show. Another way for you to participate in the show. So we have the chat. We have tonight where you can call in, and we also have SpeakPipe. So it's just another way for you to be able to enjoy and be a part and contribute. So I appreciate you all. So, and speaking of which, I want to thank everybody in the chat for being super cool, super chill. Had an awesome chat tonight. A lot of funny comments, a lot of good stuff. For all the mothers out there, I want to make sure I give you guys a happy Mother's Day. Hopefully you enjoyed your day as well as every other day surrounding that, because it truly is a blessed event for you to be able to have a child and build that bond and that relationship. For people who have not yet had children or have lost children, our heart goes out to you, or we wish for you the best. Hopefully you're making your dreams come true. You're living the life that you want to live the way you want to live it on your terms. I appreciate that too. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Before I go, let me give a big shout out to the mega mods and everybody in the chat. I just want to do that one time. Brittany, not Brittany, as well as ever, Lizzie B. Whoop, whoop. Let me give you a little something. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know it's kind of a long one. I appreciate you. Keep your eyes open because I'll be dropping videos this week. Check out my video from last week where I talk about like Christine leveling up. I thought that was a pretty good video. So it's pretty, I put some jokes in there, some jokey jokes. So check it out. Thanks so much. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. You guys have a great night. I appreciate you.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.